barbed wire fence. This is for my niggas who ain't seen freedom since. Born as a slave, freedom always been a dream. This is for them birds on that barbed wire fence. This is for my niggas who ain't seen freedom since. Born as a slave, freedom always been a dream. Made it out that cell, now I'm home. Thinking about them years I've been gone. I've been on probation for too long. My whole life now, need my life now. Sometimes I feel so irrelevant. Shit make me wanna cry in the middle of my song. They could've gave me life, just been running people's home. Now I'm on the countdown, ready to go home. Pick that book up off the shelf. Time to focus up. It's not about mental health. No, I know what's up. Mix it up before I sleep.
Top of the morning, top of whatever it is, wherever you at. You know what I mean? Shout out my good people in the building. You know what I'm saying? TC, what it do, fool? Trap House Kitchen, that's my dog. What's up, man? Hope all is well and all that. My nigga Lucci in the building. A drunk YouTuber. Yakub, what it do? Big dog, that's my dog. Shalom, gang. All praise to the Most High. Ryan Savage in the building. Nestor, what it do? Scarfy, top of the morning, gang. My dog Scarf. I just kind of want to get straight into this. Devin, what it do? I'm not, like, just so niggas know, I'm not busting down paperwork. I'm not doing none of that. Respectfully, you feel me? Because I can't. Just, you know what I'm saying? Just being honest with niggas, like, you feel me? Like, I can't do that stuff. Just, you know, I know this shit content for niggas, but you feel me? I can't do that. I see everybody running with shit and doing this and that, and you're all doing cop work, respectfully, and that's aimed at nobody but everybody. And y'all already know how I get down. Again, I can't do the shit that people are doing. I can't. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. You feel me? This shit different. It's not no jumper clips or nothing like that. So just be aware of that. I want to let y'all know too before we start any of this. I just want to let y'all know, you know, everybody who be in the Renhernert side and on Fluff Joy's this and this person's that and all that, like, just be aware that you are participating in this. You know what I'm saying? These people get these clicks and views for this kind of shit, and it's popular, and yeah, like, people gonna do it regardless of who supports it. But again, just know that like, it's almost like you're responsible too. And I know that probably sounds crazy to people, and it is what it is, right? But when you support the shit, it's like you give credence to it. Niggas in the chat, oh yeah, oh, this is cool, and it make people want to do it more. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm not busting down no paperwork. I'm not here to detail shit, right? Because I feel like enough of these niggas have done the police job, the feds job, and everything else. Again, they said 30-40% of this investigation is from podcasts, the internet, right? So that's not what I'm here for. I see everybody a fucking lawyer and all kind of shit. Niggas busting down paperwork. Oh, this looks crazy. Yeah, it's supposed to look crazy. I want to also let y'all know that this is not a RICO. You know what I mean? We don't know where things are going or whatever, but it's not a RICO. You know what this is? It's a complaint. This is something that we've never seen. It's a complaint. It could turn into whatever. But niggas is running around talking about 6-0 RICO and this, that, and the other. You feel me? It's not that. Operation take down the whatever, right? It's an operation. It's a complaint. This is not a RICO. Not at this moment. You feel me? Meaning they don't even have everything what they need to they don't have all of what they need to try to pull this off. What they're going to try to do is present things, right, that can turn it into whatever. Again, I'm not law. I'm not law of no kind. I don't pretend to be, and I'm not busting down shit. Again, I'm not even permitted to speak on none of this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all know, you know what I mean? Like, that's not what I'm here for. Appreciate what you did for my boy, Gordy. Yeah. Salute everybody in the building. G Money, I see you. Funk Face, Nefarious, John Doe, I think that's what your name is. Salute. Don't be scared. I'm not scared of anything, bro. I'm not connected to nothing like that. Not like that. Not where anybody can like pick me up or anything like that. But again, I do have family and shit connected to different things, and this is just not what I'm on. Again, I'm not law. I'm not busting down no paperwork for niggas. Oh, you know what I'm saying? I'll let whoever does that do that. But what I am here to talk about is how niggas is content actually does content, not foolishness. Phil T. Rich, that's a dope name. And salute you, bro. I appreciate that. Shout out my cousin Dre the Virgo in the building. Dot Focus, what it do? Operation Gvnglvnd Niem. That's not cool. What's up, Niem? My B-Day was yesterday. I put mad people on your channel. Merc, what it do, man? And happy belated birthday, fool. More life to you, you feel me? And you putting niggas on my channel on your birthday is ill, bro. I appreciate you. You feel me? Definitely. It ain't about being scared. It's about being official. Facts. You know what I'm saying? And again, you know what I mean? Yeah, I don't even need to get into all that. That's not what I'm doing, period. So if that's what you're looking for, go to whoever them niggas is who do that. So that's that. But shout out Sexy Nay in the building. But what I do want to get into is I just want to show y'all how these niggas participate in this shit. You know what I'm saying? Again, I told you at the top of this, you feel me? Those of you, it's no judgment or anything because I understand that entertainment is entertainment for y'all. I realize that getting all the DMs and messages that I got. For y'all, shit is just content, right? And I understand that. Like, y'all don't got no connection to anything or nothing like that. So for y'all, it's just content. It's not affecting y'all. Right? And I'm not even mad at that. But I have to let you know that when you support these niggas, you know what I'm saying? You're supporting what they're doing. Doesn't matter, it's just entertainment to you. I feel like we have a responsibility. I feel like I have a responsibility, and that's why I cut my content the way that I cut my content. You feel me? That's that. I'm not gonna do too much. Your page is the dopest. Man, I appreciate that, man. I definitely appreciate that. You know, shout out to everybody who's in my DMs like, hey, when you gonna do this? Never. Right? But I do have some things to say about some things. Skill, what it do? Gangland DJ in the building, what it do, fool? Gangland Niem, I got a question. Ask your question. I don't know if I'll answer it. You my nigga. You already know. You know what I'm saying? But ask the question. I don't know if I'll answer it. I'm going to just keep it real with everybody. So this ain't one of those. Artsy fartsy, what it do? Shout out my nigga Gangland DJ, though. Real one. Damn. Gangland Jiggy just caught his first live coming from NY. Always tapped in. Damn, Jiggy LaFleur, appreciate that, bro. I like when people be like, man, I finally caught a live. I like that y'all want to catch lives. You feel me? That's dope. Y'all know how I do Bunk Skunk Friday. It's Bunk Skunk, but it's not the Bunk Skunk y'all looking for, bro. So I just want y'all to know that. So y'all could just bounce out right now if y'all looking for something else. Because, again, I'm not doing what everybody's doing. I'm just not. Do we take that YouTube police account serious, or is it a troll? It's a troll, Brody. It's a troll. The YouTube police is not doing nothing. You could tell by, but you could tell by what they do. But this is what I would tell you. Who knows? I'll be honest. Who knows? But to me, how I process things and I see what's going on, it seems like somebody is just a troll. You know what I'm saying? And I don't, you know what I mean? This is my thing, gang. I doubt very seriously the people who are watching this shit is in my chat talking about eye emoji, writing down emoji. You know what I'm saying? It's funny, it's trolling, but at the end of the day, who knows? That's what I say, because shit, who knows, bro? Straight up, like, I don't know, nigga. That's my answer. I don't know. I had hit you in a DM. I was telling you about event Los hosted for me at No Jumper. Battle ain't dropped yet, though. Okay, for sure, man. I be getting so much DMs, fool. Hit me again, you know what I'm saying? Hit me again. And, you know what I'm saying? Again, to everybody who be tapped in with me on the Instagram and shit, man, I apologize about not getting that niggas and shit, but it just be, I get a lot of shit and all that, and you know what I'm saying? Sometimes that should be overwhelming, just being real with you. Mr. I don't know, y'all finally caught my first live. Thomas, salute, gang. I appreciate that. Dre, salute, gang. You don't like Trapler Ross? Nah, I don't, bro. I don't know him to not like him, but I don't like what he does. Again, he just, like, these people just what I would ask y'all about Trapler Ross. We're going to get into all this, man. I got a dope piece of content, and if y'all here for it, you know what I'm saying? I'm here for it. OTVF, what it do? Rise and grind, you already know the deal, man. Hold on. Somebody else was in here. Whatever. That shit don't even matter. Been a while. Hope you're well. Man, F-bombs, what it do? Hope you well, bro. I ain't heard from you. I like to see my good people. I like to see my good people in here. Shout out y'all. This thing stepped on the Street TV episode. I still tapped in. Yeah, man. Shout out Jimmy. Shout out to Mean Green. What it do? Shout out to everybody, man. I'm sorry if I don't get to y'all niggas. I want to get to this. Shout out to Alex Alonzo and Munchie B, Street TV. Shout out to everybody who pulled up over there to tap in with that episode. Got a lot of good feedback from that. And, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all tapping in with me and for me. You know what I'm saying? Tina, don't throw me off the back. I eats what it do, bro. Appreciate you. Too much, fair to say. He's not worse than times as Adam 16. Yeah, Dre, I'm not here to argue that, right? They all hold a place in this certain sector, and it's like the YouTube task force, right? They all hold the same exact position. If you ask me, some might rank a little higher, right? But it's all the same thing, and again, we're going to get into that. I'm not really here to battle back and forth with niggas about shit like that or anything. Just makes movies about life. Yeah, but this is what I would tell you, right? Dre, just real quick. A lot of the information that niggas is putting out there and this, that, and the other don't even be correct, right? And you know what I'm saying? And I know this. You feel me? I know this from the land. I know this from Philly. I know this from a few different places. You know what I'm saying? There's no way you could really be tapped in that way. What niggas do is they take music, they take this, they take that, and they string together things. They do cop work, bro. They do cop work. This is not movies. I venture to say that Trapper Ross could probably make cool movies out of his creativity, but this is not that. Straight up. You calling niggas the biggest demons and and all that. And this is the thing too, right? Why don't you get support from your people? Why don't people in the UK support you like that? I have people in the UK, gang. They don't like him. That's firstly. Second off, he don't report on nothing out there. Again, I have people in the UK. The same shit that goes on out here goes on in the UK. Let me let y'all know this. All the gangs that are out here are in the UK. These niggas got slashing, shootings, and everything else. Don't be fooled. Niggas like, they don't got guns, they can't have guns. Yeah, but so what? We can't have guns in LA for the most part, but everybody got one. It's the same shit going on in the UK. Do we see extra exaggerated content and shit about them out there? No, we don't. He does this shit in the States. I don't agree with it, and that's my stance, right? They're doing cop work. People look at this shit and it's cop work, bro. Point blank. And that's just my stance on it. I should be doing stuff on closed case. Right. But it don't even, you know what I'm saying? All these guys are the same thing. You feel me? And I'm not, it is what it is. You talking about his UK drill is fire. Or how many of those do we have? That's what we talking about. Shout out my Ak. Top Ak in the building. That's my dog. You hear me? Shout out my Aki Lifted, man. I'm about to accidentally hit the button. It was on the music. Oh, niggas good. Shout out my nigga Ike in the building. Marathon Kev, what it do, bro? I never seen you in here. I like what you do and shit though, bro. Straight up. Shout out Marathon Kev in the building. But again, bro, I'm not here to talk about bricks withdrawals either. I just want to show y'all shit that's going on here. You feel me? So let's just start it up. All right. I want to show y'all this post. I'm gonna take y'all off the screen real quick. Shout out my brother in the building. In the building. I want to show y'all this off tops. I'm gonna take y'all chat off the screen. I want y'all to look at this. This is from Academics. This is a day or two ago. I read this. About 30 to 40% of the incidents described in this RICO indictment against the Rolling 60s can be traced back to podcasts or online back and forth. Threats, plots, incidents seem to be directly related to online beef and podcasting, which heightened tension. Y'all see that? Y'all hear that? This is Academics posting this, right? Because this is what this is, the internet. Now, mind you, again, there is no RICO. We keep using RICO. I put No Jumper RICO in there because No Jumper probably gonna have a RICO, right? But there is no RICO. Y'all have to understand this is a complaint. I've never heard of a federal complaint. I did hear Flacco say that he had a number where he could make a complaint. All right? I don't know nothing about that. Again, I'm not law. I'm not feds. I'm not government. I'm none of that. It's a nigga. It's a complaint. It is not a RICO. We don't know where it's going to go, but it's not a RICO yet. So, you know, you got to pay attention to detail as well. And if any of y'all are following any of the shit online, in court, all that, you hear that. So be very aware this isn't a RICO. You know what I'm saying? They make it look away. They make it sound away because that's what they're supposed to do to sway public opinion, right? And in sway and, pardon me, and in swaying public opinion, it's like indirectly jury tampering, if you ask me. Because how do you put things like this out there everywhere? Matter of factly, I see articles saying such and such did such and such. And it's like, yo, you don't have any proof of any of that. But I'm talking about actual news outlets. Such and such did such and such. But there's no proof of this stuff. You feel me? That is swaying public opinion and in turn tampering with a jury. Niggas say, you get a jury of your peers. Your peers is just random people, right? It's not actually your peers, right? It's just random people throughout the whole thing who watch news, who consume news and see all this same shit. So just pay attention to what's going on. That's what I'm gonna tell y'all. Pay attention to what's going on. We gonna go to this next slide. So with that said, right? Alcoholic said that he was gonna do a IRL. He was gonna do an IRL in LA. I don't know how he thought he was gonna get that off, but this is what he had planned to do, right? He planned to go IRL in LA, which a lot of y'all know how he covers Los Angeles, the dastardly things he says about Los Angeles, our music, our greats and everything else, right? How you think that an IRL live stream fares for academics in Los Angeles, right? Right. We'll go to this next slide. Now, this is the video privated because I guess that never happened, right? And rightfully so. Niggas can't speak the way they speak about the land and this, that, and the other and think that, like, you know, you could just travel and do this and do that, because that's just not the way that things go, right? Now, what I did see, right? We'll get to the next slide. Bow, what I did see was this. Y'all see that right there? That's Vladimir. It's Harry Potter. That's Alcoholic. It's Racker and Hernet. Officer Remo and Adam 22. This really ain't a Kiwi head situation. This is Adam Grand Mason. Know who he is. Know who that man is. It's Adam Grand Mason. And he put together the Avengers of cops, the Avengers of tattletellers, the Avengers, the Tattletale Task Force, if you ask me. What I will say about Vladimir is Vladimir doesn't cooperate with law, right? That's just what it is. We have nothing of him cooperating with law. He said that. Law said that he don't cooperate with law, right? We heard Adam Graham Mason say, hey, whatever the cops ask me, whatever they need, I'm going to do because I want them to feel secure. I want them to know that I'm cool and that I'm not with anything. That's what Adam Graham Mason said. I want to point this out, right? I want to point out to y'all how nobody was aware that this right here was going on. Racker and Hernet can't hold water. He can't hold water. But niggas kept this quiet. Niggas kept this quiet. I don't know what that means or nothing. What do y'all think that means? Let's talk about everything else, but niggas kept this quiet. Strategically released this shit this morning after everything was done. You know what I mean? This is the type time these folks are on. Pay attention. This is the type time these folks are on. Again, we're not going through no jumper clips or nothing. I got a video where somebody did great work. Shout out Lil Bill. Again, I don't claim to be a journalist or nothing. I'm just a nigga who has an opinion, who cares about his people. You feel me? A lot of y'all in the chat be like, man, Niem's the realest nigga and this, that, and the other. But I'm just a nigga, and what I am is I'm a Muslim, and I try to be as righteous as possible. I'm not perfect. I'm not Allah. You feel me? But I try to be as righteous as possible. Even how I cut my content, jokes are jokes, but I don't call niggas out their name. I'm not trying to indict anybody in anything. I see a lot of things on the internet that I don't even comment on because I know how that could play, right? I know how that could play for certain people. I see all kinds of shit. I see shit that, you know what I'm saying? I see the shit that everybody do, and I saw that too. I seen that, but I can't do that. I can't do that shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. Again, I'm not going to switch up who I am for the internet. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is, because the internet don't mean that much to me. I don't even want to say fame, but notoriety or clout or none of that don't mean nothing to me. Again, I'd be faceless Niem or whatever, nigga, if I knew about that. Again, I came into the game naive. I really didn't even know anything about faceless channels, or y'all would not know me, because I don't care about this shit. You know what I mean? But I can't do what folks do. And we gonna get to this next slide before we bust this down. I just want to show y'all things, because again, this dude Little Bill really broke shit down the same way that I've broke this shit down. In every reaction, niggas be like, I'm No Jumper's biggest fan. That's fine. I have no issue with that, right? I'm No Jumper's biggest fan. And by the way, I'm everything that y'all think I am. For the record. Like, whatever you think, that's what I am. Don't even worry about it. You know what I'm saying? And like that, we could just proceed. Everything you think I am, I am. There it is, right? But Little Bill broke down every single thing that I tell y'all. But he did this with stats and this, that, and the other. And I feel like everybody needs to see this. I feel like a lot of y'all wouldn't even see this kind of shit. I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do, right? I'm supposed to highlight shit like this just so y'all can see, so y'all can have a better understanding of things, so y'all can have a better understanding of what I do. I understand that a lot of y'all will never understand, and I'm No Jumper's biggest fan. I'm No Jumper's biggest fan. Pom-poms and all this shit, that's cool. But it's instances like this, right? The shit we gonna break down where you know what I'm saying? Y'all can see what I've been saying this whole time. Again, I'm not a scholar. I'm not none of these things. You know what I'm saying? I just get up here and speak from my heart. I speak from experience. I speak from coming from the streets. My father, family, being in the streets, and all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? So, and I made it out of that shit. A lot of y'all know, nigga, I was shot, and all kind of shit. You feel me? Had to learn how to do all kind of shit. Had to work on my mental. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Niggas couldn't walk in some more shit, but really what fucked me up more than anything was my mind. The shit that incident did to my mind. You know what I'm saying? It did change me and my perspective on a lot of things, and that's why I come to y'all today in the manner in which I come to y'all today. That's why y'all know me how y'all know me today, right? That's that. But I think this is important for everybody to just know, including all of you guys who support this kind of shit. I think it's important for you to know, you know, when you see this broke down, and you continue to do what you do, that's your business. But I have to be on the record saying this ain't it. And shame on anybody who supports this shit. And I mean anybody, bro. I can't, you know what I mean? I mean anybody. Shout out Draco with 199 on my phone. He said, Niem's the truth. I just be trolling. I don't even know what you said or nothing, bro, but salute you, fool. You know I rock with you anyway. You know I rock with all y'all. I really, you know what I'm saying? I got nothing but love for a lot of y'all. For all y'all, for that matter. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Draco, you know I'm not tripping. I don't know what you said, but I know you be trolling. I know you just be doing it up. You feel me? Like, and that's that. Like, Draco good with me, being good with me, and it's all love, fool. Like, I don't know what you said. I don't got time to really. This ain't one of them lives, right? Just to be real with y'all, all this shit. Shout out to everybody who I ain't say nothing to in the comments and shit. Shout out my nigga Gangland Pharaoh, the top shotter. You feel me? The top shotter. My nigga Gangland Duda in the building. Shout out Duda. You feel me? The Prince of Peace. That's my dog. But this ain't that. King Buck, what it do, fool? Good to see you in here. This ain't that. Shout out Sherma Tis. Lifted like Draco. It'll just be easy. And he cool too. I don't know what he said. Lifted, but he do be trolling, and it's cool. And why you crying? That's an awful lot of feds. Sheesh. That's an awful lot of tattletales in one room. Sheesh. You already. Shout out my nigga Gangland Niem in the building. Shout out Mop in the building, man. Shout out Mop. It's the Mop, not the Wop, nigga. Fuck is you talking about? Shout out my dog in the building. Yeah, I can see your name. But I'm gonna run this clip for y'all. They telling Jack Bauer what it do. Big ass run shit. For fun. Shut up, El Barrio. All right, let's do this. I want y'all to just see this real quick too.
They usually go to this is a 4-year investigation. They're definitely on the grand jury. They only do, that's a quick way to get an indictment when an officer or an agent says, we need.
Ooh, he in there talking, boy. We need. Oh, shit, I'm going to run that back one more time just so y'all can see what's going on. You feel me? They in there doing it up, man. They having a powwow of the tattletales, y'all.
They usually go to this is a 4-year investigation. They're definitely on the grand jury. They only do, that's a quick way to get an indictment when an officer or an agent says, we need.
Facts, they are. I think they've been plotting. But this is what we gonna do again. Shout out to Lil Bill, bro. Shout out my cousin Drea, because she's fire and she watches everything. She really don't even be in this sector. She really around here because of me. And ODM Slim and shit like that. But like, she really don't even be on any of this shit. And she brought some shout out Draco with the $1.99 on my footy. Appreciate you, gang. He said drop that bag, chat. That's a fact. I seen another super chat in here. My bad, y'all. Somebody else sent a super chat, right? Draco sent 2, and then I thought I saw somebody. No, okay. My bad, y'all. I'm oh, that was my brother. Shout out my brother. Oh no, that wasn't him. Hold on. Oh shit. Yeah, I can't read that super chat, Draco. Okay, that's what you was doing. Oh yeah, bro, that ain't funny. I didn't see that, fool. Yeah, that ain't cool, bro. You good though? Like, I know you just be trolling and you hit me with the super chat like, yo, you just be trolling. I know you do, and I know you do. I'm gonna be real with y'all, right? And y'all do it up in the chat too. And y'all be cool on let niggas do what they do or whatever. Draco good though. I know he don't mean no harm by that. He just fucking around. But y'all let niggas do what they do, bro. We not here to and I'm not talking about Draco. Anybody who come in here, Gvnglvnd Niem or whatever, let them do that. Do not give them no attention, because I'm here for a purpose, right? There's intention in everything I do, but I got super intention in this one today. So I need y'all to just let them do what they do, period. I don't want to hear fuck you and I'm going to get them the fuck out of here. Don't nobody text me. Don't say shit. Let them do what they do. I'm not here for that today. That's that. I go crazy for that troll though, fool. Golly. I troll my own mama. I watch you everywhere doing this, and you always been good with me, fool. Like, I know, man. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't know that that's what you said. You know what I'm saying? That kind of threw me off, but I understand that you niggas don't mean nothing. But by that, Robert Martinez, what it do? Keith in the building, Meg in the building, all that shit. Yeah, straight up. Gangland Padre in the building. Me and my dogs. Salute. Let the roaches be. Don't mind them. Facts. That's just what it is. Today. Billy Mack, what it do? Yeah, but excuse me, my bad, y'all. Nigga low key thrown off and shit. Like I said, a lot of shit for everybody that's just content that's don't affect y'all. But you know what I'm saying? Niggas, you know what I'm saying? Niggas is affected by this type shit, and it doesn't matter nothing. But again, I'm not reading no paperwork. I'm not here for that, nor am I allowed to do none of that shit. Really, I don't want to anyway. But that's you know what I'm saying? Me personally, I can't do none of that. So if that's what y'all looking for, just go on now. It's a lot of y'all in here, probably the most I had in a cool little while. But if you're looking for something specific like any of that, you might as well just bounce out now. But shout out Lil Bill. Because we about to get into this, bro. We about to get into this, and it's just like a real breakdown, bro, of exactly what's going on here in this sector and everything. Instigator Cut, what it do, fool? MX in the building. Afro Cuz TV. The topic is you know what I'm saying, the YouTube task force, gang. I got Trap La Ross on there because he's like, you know what I mean? Because I got him on there because it just doesn't matter. Again, I just feel like y'all need to be aware of this. Maybe some of y'all don't see this kind of shit. Maybe some of the messages that I preach in the content be lost. I know it's lost because of some of the comments that I get and how people like they say, oh, I'm No Jumper's biggest fan with the pom-poms. And again, I'm everything that you niggas say I am. So let's not have no debate. We don't got to argue about that. Just flat and dry, whatever y'all say I am. And that's what it is. I'm not here to dispel, argue, any of that. I'll be whatever y'all say. And that's that. You know what I mean? 309 beats with 2 on the 40. Great content and morals. Appreciate you, bro. Shout out you with the 2 on the 40. Lala said 600 and whack make better do a better job than LAPD. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. You give people name. For real, how did we? Yeah. Shout out Britt, Lala, Afro Cuz, Sherm, good, you good people. Thank you, bro. Thank you. But let's just start this. Cause I keep getting sidetracked, bro. Let's get into this though. I'm here for a lesson. I'm here trying to show y'all something. Again, I think that shit gets lost in the content that I do. I think some of the messages get lost, and I just want y'all. This ain't what I do. Pay attention, please. You feel me? Again, if y'all here for paperwork reads and bust downs on who's or what's and who did what, that's not what this is. So bounce out now. You feel me? Shout out to everybody in here who support me. I appreciate y'all. Shout out to everybody in here who genuinely rock with me. Shout out to the people who don't understand what it is I do. Shout out to the trolls. Shout out to the haters. And shout out to the people who genuinely understand what it is that I'm doing here. You feel me? Y'all are super important because y'all are the people who push this message across the YouTube streets. You know what I'm saying? Like Sherm said, yo, Niem good people. Such and such Niem got morals and all that. Y'all are the people who push this shit. I greatly appreciate y'all. You feel me? But again, I want to just show y'all this because he does this in a whole nother way. You feel me? I don't do this. And, you know, maybe I should start straight up. But pay attention and get them likes up. Or whatever, straight up. It don't even matter, really.
All right, so before we even get into the meat of this topic, let's go ahead and tackle some of the cope that I'm bound to see in the comments so that the rest of y'all don't have to go back and forth with those folk, or if you do, you're doing that on your own time. I ain't got no patience for it. It's just journalism, bro. It's all public information. You're only saying this because Trap La Ross is white, and yeah, duh, nigga. That's literally my point. But as well,
shout out Draco. He said justice for loose brick. Whack did that. Well, I don't even know what that means, fool. I don't even know what that means. But let's continue. Shout out Draco for the 199 on the 40.
All things, there's much more nuance to it than just whiteness in a vacuum. I'm not going to sit here and tell y'all that you shouldn't watch these folks just because they're white. I'm not even going to tell y'all that they shouldn't be getting into black folks' business in the first place because they are white. I mean, Foreign Man's already did that video. But what I will tell you is that their whiteness coupled with the sensationalized presentation of their subject matter is what makes that content problematic, if you ask me. Trap La Ross and channels like his are a product of what I'll call the poverty tour industrial complex. I'm flexing my bachelor's degree on that one. Basically, it's when content creators create a business model that relies on presenting people and places living in poverty and thereby living with the consequences of poverty to an audience that otherwise wouldn't know, let alone care about those folk or those places.
I need y'all to pay attention. I need y'all to pay attention, bro. I really, really need y'all to pay attention to this, bro. I'm about to run this back, bro, and I really don't want to do too much running back. I don't want to sit up here for fucking 5 hours, right? I'm long-winded. I'm trying to be short-winded. I'm long-winded. I talk too much and all this shit. I need y'all to pay attention to this, please. I don't have no fucking bachelors. I don't have nothing. I'm in my mama basement, in my mama garage. I don't have nothing. I need y'all to pay attention to this, though, please. Listen to what he's saying.
To an audience that otherwise industrial complex. I'm flexing my bachelor's degree on that one. Basically, it's when content creators create a business model that relies on presenting people and places living in poverty and thereby living with the consequences of poverty to an audience that otherwise wouldn't know, let alone care about those folk or those places, which on the surface doesn't sound like a problem.
Yes,
Matter of fact, it actually sounds like a good thing. In fact, most consumers of said content will argue just that point, and that's kind of low-key the kind of self-dry snitching that I'm talking about.
Hey, bro, I was in the gym. Shout out my nigga Slim, bro. My nigga Slim was in there getting right with me this morning. You know what I'm talking about? When I put the screensaver up, I gotta use the bathroom, bro. I drank like a gallon of water this morning, so just, this ain't even about Gvnglvnd Niem, right? I really need y'all to pay attention to Little Bill and what he's presenting to y'all. You feel me? Again, I do this in reactions. That be lost on certain people, and that's okay. You feel me? But everything that this man is saying, with the exception of nothing, I have told y'all in my own words. I told y'all all this. Pay attention to this, please.
With y'all, but that's aside from the
shout out Draco. With 199, whack at 600 can unsolve any mystery. Facts, fair to say.
Point. Some would argue that the problem with this kind of content is that it's being done for profit. And I mean, yeah, I get that, but also, you know, I am a YouTube after all. Niggas gotta eat. And we can argue the ethics of such as it's done by mainstream outlets, but the problem specifically with Trap Lord and his ilk, again, goes back to the presentation. These people and places are more often than not presented in a way that is sensationalized for the sake of making them more appealing to those folks' core audience. Again, an audience that would not care about these stories otherwise. Thus, many times, facts and perhaps more importantly, context, if not outright omitted, is obfuscated for the sake of the narrative being presented, or in the most egregious examples, for just the sake of shock value.
Nobody hates Trap Lord Ross more than other white YouTubers talking about hip hop, trying not to be white. Trap Lord Ross. I'm just telling you, it's like, that's not me. That's not me. Oh my God, they think it's me. Damn it. Wait.
Journalism. Because journalism isn't just research, it's framing, it's investigation, it's knowing how to map out stories, etc., finding the story. And so him going to Chicago, he probably, like, academics probably had to go into these places, talk to people, connect dots, etc., to do that fuck shit he did. It's a skill set. Trap Lord Ross is Googling. He's Googling. He's a Google snooper. I don't remember who first said that.
Thus, a perception of these people and places that contributes to keeping them in that state is being perpetuated by the very media that was at least nominally intended to inform the public on their condition. And that's why the whole, you know, journalism argument, although not technically wrong, is a bit disingenuous.
Shout out Britt, congratulations. Education is everything. You feel me? I wish I did get a bachelor's and all the shit. Niggas be like, you could too, but I won't lie to niggas. I'm not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody who went to school, because you're not a nerd being educated. You're not. I wish I had did things different. That's why I carry shit the way that I carry it with my son. You feel me? I don't want that nigga to be no famous basketball player or rapper or none of that because I need money. I want my son to be smart. I want my son to be educated. You understand me? Shout out Britt. That's fire. Let's continue. Shout out Uda, man. Shout out my nigga Uda in the building, man.
if you ask me. Because, like we'll discuss later, journalism is not really the intent behind either the creation or the consumption of this content.
Thanks.
Like, let's just ignore the fact that without even watching the video, I could pick a thumbnail from any one of those channels and give you like 3 or 4 points from any one of the many journalistic codes of ethics being violated off rip. The audience isn't here for information. They're here for entertainment, and these creators know this. Like, take Brandon Buckingham, for example. I'm not going to hold y'all and try to argue that the nigga is, Hunter S. Thompson or somebody. But if you ignore the thumbnails of his videos, they're not egregious. I'd even dare say they're pretty decent. If for no other reason than he actually lets his...
I disagree with that. Again, I watch Brandon Bukkake throw up Crip in a thumbnail. What part of journalism is that, gang? Where you're throwing up Crip? You don't got nothing to do with the Crips. I don't care if a Crip told you, hey, it's cool for you to throw up Crip, right? I had a conversation with Brandon Bukkake on the phone. He's like, hey, man, I know you hate me, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. I'm not opposed to conversation, right? So I talked to him on the phone. He acted like he wanted to get information. He wanted to pick my brain. He wanted to know what he could do better, and he continues to do the same shit. Shame on him. I told him on the phone in the conversation that we had when he said, yeah, such and such said it was okay for me to throw up Crip, right? I said, if such and such said it was okay for you to say nigga, would you? He said no. Let's continue.
Subjects tell their own stories. But the thumbnail, man, along with the title, the sensationalized manner in which the content is being presented is the problem.
RLB,
but it's also that presentation that is the reason why you clicked on the joint to begin with. And he and everyone else like him know this. That's Brandon Buckingham.
I don't know who that is.
Basically, what he does is he runs through the hood.
Shout out FD Signifier.
You heard about boy from Philly that died, and they was coming out at the Buckingham boy because I think like maybe it wasn't too long. It was like a day or two before he had did a video where he was going all through Philly with the boy, and he wound up dying. Not now in the video, but like a couple.
How about don't spoil shit, Dre? Thank you.
Days later, and people were saying, that you kind of low key narked on him. If you hadn't been, blah 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 blah, and he was trying to defend himself, and other people was trying to defend him. And again, going back to what you were saying was, and matter of fact, I was on the call with a company man a couple of days ago. And we was making this point is that it's like 10,000 different journalistic codes of ethics, right? And like the first code that you get in almost all of them is to mitigate as much harm as possible.
Right.
In my mind, what I'm thinking is the very least you could have did was wait it out a couple days, put it out like a week or two later, but you had to upload it as soon as possible to get them clicks.
Right.
And that right there, even if you did go to the source, even if you did point a camera and I don't really know how his operation worked, because a lot of these they offer you some money to ride along or whatever, and I don't know if that's how he do it, but point is that if the goal was to inform the public on which I mean we all know what time it is, but right. If that was your goal, even if you were trying to keep up that appearance, then you could have been more responsible.
I'm looking at this dude's thumbnails, and I just want some.
Shout out Draco with 199 on my 40. My boy throwing that shit up, nigga. You hear me? Shout out my dog. He said street smarts are just as valuable as book smarts. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? It's cool. You know what I'm saying? But I do not shy away from like the education. And you know what I mean? You're right though, because take for example just regular people in the field, right? You got people who went to school for cinematography and all that, right? Go to school, do all the shit, and then you got the guy who's just guerrilla, shooting, teaching himself shit in the streets, right? And he just as good as that nigga who went to school because he has the real world experience. So, you know, I do understand that. You feel me? I absolutely understand that. And thank y'all, you know what I'm saying? And all that. I'll watch you from France now for 1 year. Damn, Lala, that's dope. That's dope. Appreciate y'all. Billy Mack said Niem's energy's off. Because this I won't say my energy off, but my energy is I won't say my energy's off, but my energy is like going to one place. I'm not here for jokes. I'm not here for none of that because what's going on is serious. You know what I'm saying? I understand it's content for everybody, but this is serious. So my energy is just placed where it should be. That's all. You feel me? And my bad to anybody who in the chat just like, damn, Niem's off or whatever. You feel me? Because I'm not off. I'm not off. I'm cool. You feel me? I'm solid. You know what I'm saying? But again, I think this is a message that folks need to hear because oftentimes this shit is lost in my content. Again, niggas call me the biggest no jumper fan. They say I'm a cheerleader and this, that, and the other, and that's fine. Whatever y'all say I am, I am. Boom. But again, I like this is very intentional for me this morning. You know what I'm saying? So that's all it is. I just want niggas to just pay attention. You feel me? We got every day in the world where I do this and I do that and I bring the jokes and all that, but this is serious. And that's all this is, you feel me? But I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? Nobody about to indict me or nothing like that. So you feel me? I'm not worried about that. We good. You feel me? But again, I'm trying to do a thing here. Shout out to everybody in the chat who understand that. Shout out everybody who don't. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. Shout out Billy Mack though.
To find this.
You see what I'm talking about?
Oh my fucking god!
But
wow.
but you
then,
you see
and then he got
right?
the nerve to be like, I hate DJ Academics. Well, y'all are all children of academics. I can't believe that shit. Anyway.
Like, I low-key kind of did the same thing with The Hood Is Dead by showing the faces of a bunch of dead rappers who had literally nothing to do with the joint except for the fact that they so happened to grow up in neighborhoods similar to what I was talking about in that video. But also, I know what you niggas click on. You see how this works, right? The Poverty Tour Industrial Complex is basically what happened when a bunch of self-proclaimed hip-hop journalists, historians, reviewers, whatever, realized that they stood the game more by not necessarily covering hip-hop itself, but all of the shady stuff that happens in and around the industry, which then just devolved into pointing a camera at street beef and cashing in on the AdSense checks. The next wave of Poverty Tour agents saw the lane that folk like Academics and Vlad and No Jumper and even Trap Lore made and just dropped the whole hip-hop pretense altogether and went 10 toes down straight into ride-alongs and on-the-street interviews in places most of their viewers fear to tread themselves. But here's the thing. Trap Lore, Ross, and all those other folk, he's
Harry Potter
and they are not the first, not even on the internet, to make a bag off of black bodies. They're just the biggest names in the game right now. Like, again, remember I did a video a while ago talking about the end of the diss track and how Academics first came to prominence based off of the back of that whole War in Chirac channel that I don't even know is up anymore. And the reason why he got away with it was because he did it under the guise of, again, hip-hop journalism, even if half the people and topics that he and all the rest of those covered could only be seen as such in the loosest definition of it.
And a lot of times people can be so far away from the action that they don't actually have to deal with any repercussions of what they're putting out. Academics' War in Chirac channel had a similar impact, right? Well, here is the most exciting form of new subgenre in hip hop. You have all these artists saying these things in the songs. Academics is sitting in Jersey covering it, talking about it. I would
shout out Reg Dog TV in the building. That's my dog. Shout out you, fool. With $4.99 on my 40. Piece of snaps on the 40 to everybody staying away from the RICO. Fox. Wooder Man, what it do? Asia in the building. What it do? Let's continue. Swamp Stories be giving up too much. Swamp Stories too. I don't know who Swamp Stories is where I could I don't know Swamp Stories. He's faceless, which was smart, right? I don't know black, this, that. I don't know what he is. You feel me? But I'm attacking those who I could see. Straight up. But, you know, to a degree, I feel the same way about Swamp Stories. It is what it is. And for the record, just so y'all know, I don't watch none of that shit, bro. I'm from the hood. As y'all know, done been through some of everything. That shit's not entertainment for me. It's entertainment for people who ain't never been through this shit, don't know nothing about it. So for me, I don't watch that shit. My brother's in here right now. Peace out, bro. Peace out. My brother's in here right now, Mickey, and he watches all that shit. You know what I'm saying? But just me, and he could tell you too. He could tell you too that I'm not into that shit. We be in the car, and he's playing the shit on the loudspeakers, and it's like I used to be like, bro, turn that shit off. Like I don't want to hear it, but it's like, hey, I let him do what he do. But that's not entertainment to me. I don't care about niggas' war stories. I have my own. I have enough for myself and my family that I don't care to hear niggas dramatize the war stories. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? So that's what that is. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I appreciate y'all. You don't like that shit. I love it. It's a fact. That's a fact. Niggas, but just again, you know what I'm saying? I'm cool, y'all. I'm good. Everything is good, right? But this is not what this usually is. I'm sorry if you niggas came here for Bunk Skunk Friday and this ain't Bunk Skunk enough for you, because this is the bunkest skunkest if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? This the bunkest skunkest if you ask me. But again, now I'm not here to make jokes and little shits, because this is just not that in this moment for me. Sometimes you gotta be serious. It is what it is. First off, I'm not a fucking comedian. I tell y'all that all the time. Niggas think a lot of shit that I do is funny. Well, I'm not trying to be funny now. Kiwi head, rock head, rectangle, and all that shit. Yeah, I'm trying to be funny with that. But a lot of shit that y'all find funny, I'm really not trying to be funny. It just, I guess the way I get off is funny or whatever. But you know what I'm saying? I'm not nobody's fucking comedian. I'm not a fucking court gesture. So please understand that as well. Yes, I'm trying to entertain y'all in these different instances and give y'all this shit inside of it. You feel me? I'm trying to put the medicine inside the junk food, right? But I'm nobody's fucking court gesture. Straight up. Understand that. You know what I mean? And whoever, again, I told y'all at the top of this shit, if you want to bounce out, because this ain't that. Straight up. Shout out to my chat. The best chat on YouTube, and I appreciate y'all, bro. You feel me? I greatly appreciate y'all.
Say irresponsibly, I would say someone with the name DJ in front of his name knows what he's doing. The virality of those conversations, to me, shows that there was an interest. And so people's moral position on how they look at what it means to, how do you describe it again? I like the way you said that again. Mitigate as much harm as possible. Mitigate as much harm as possible. That is a fluid thing. I think Black Death is profitable from a global standpoint, and it's been at the foundation of the economy of Western civilization since the beginning of time. 500 years. You know,
poverty tourism isn't even new, but it's something that goes back at least as far to the 19th century in London, when the upper crust.
Shout out my brother 199 on my 40 said, "Stop cussing, fool. My bad. My bad. Excuse me, y'all. Stop for law."
Would spend their holidays spelunking through the slums and ghettos of the East End. And this is something you see all throughout Western, even global media, the elite's fascination with the way that the lesser half lives, to the point that that very fascination has itself been depicted in stories like The Prince and the Pauper, for example. I'll get into the why a little bit later on, but for now, let's go back to the whole presentation thing, specifically what I mean by sensationalism. Sensationalism is a tactic used by journalists, and more often than not, their editors, honestly, to invoke an emotional response in their audience that ideally drives up engagement. This can be wording a headline to make an otherwise trivial topic appear more important than it actually is, or using the same headline to lean into the controversial nature of said topic, or even, the good old bait and switch, tricking your audience into thinking you're about to spill some scorching hot tea when it's really just, lukewarm milk.
Mo Bucks, what it do?
So yeah, it's basically every YouTube thumbnail you've ever seen since the adpocalypse days.
Y'all want to laugh? Look at that. Look at that thumbnail. If y'all want to laugh, look at that thumbnail. Eminem and the white rapper Problem, the greatest rapper of all time. Look at Eminem. That looks crazy. That's funny. Y'all want to laugh? Laugh. That's funny. Laugh at that.
The most obvious issue with sensationalized media is the distortion of facts, specifically in the case of hood tour media. More specifically than that, the over and misrepresentation of crime in Black America.
Journalism. I don't watch a lot of his videos. I've only watched I may have watched a handful of his videos once upon a time, just because I remember the Florida shit. The boys in Florida that were getting shot, that were shooting each other up. I may have watched him do that video because that was my first introduction to him, and the story was so surreal that I could not listen. What NAD interview he conducted in that? What NAD connection he made in that? He is just regurgitating news, interviews, and work of other people and putting it into one package. That nigga's he's a clip farmer. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so technically you could call that journalism because you are putting together a story, but considering the dynamics, considering what's at stake, considering who's at risk, I don't want to hear that shit. And I don't want to hear for academics either, but at least I can connect the dots on academics doing journalism to get his story. Trap Lord Ross could never go to the places he talks about and get the type of response that he gets. And not even get the type of response he gets, like get real insight that isn't Googled or pulled from message boards. You know what I'm saying? It's research, I'll give him that. But he's not providing any type of like true insight or analysis or breakthrough information or whatever. He is a mother bird chewing up some shit and spitting into the mouths of his fans. But because it's gangster shit, it's black bodies, black male bodies specifically dying, there's a desire to hear those stories.
I've talked in the past about the way race and class color our perceptions of crime and the nature thereof. But in summation, we greatly over-exaggerate the impact and even prevalence of so-called violent crimes in America, even in the hardest hit areas of the country. If y'all want the full tea on that, I suggest y'all go watch The Hood is Dead that I mentioned earlier, but I'm not going over all of that again. But one thing I did point out in that video is that not only have homicides among all other crimes, violent and otherwise, been on a steep and steady decline since the 70s, but homicide accounts for less than 1% of the total crime rate in the US and is always in the single digits in those big dangerous cities that you hear about on the nightly news. I've also cited studies in the past that say that 50% of the total gun crimes committed in the average American city are committed by 0.6% of the population of that city. Furthermore, that same 0.6% represents the same percentage of gun crime victims in the average US city as perpetrators. So again, this is all just street niggas doing street stuff. But that's not the way that it's framed by mainstream media outlets, and most definitely not by the internet. Instead, we promote this narrative of a violent crime wave sweeping the country's urban centers, threatening to hop on the highway down to...
When there's violent crime everywhere, again, I'm going to let this man do his shit, but there's violent crime everywhere. You understand me? Everywhere. Do y'all understand that this same shit that they're doing with us, they can do with their own people? They could do this with their own people. Why don't we see niggas doing deep dives on the Klan? Why don't we see niggas doing deep dives on the neo-Nazis? Why don't we see people doing deep dives on, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about these guys. Trap Lord Ross and all this. Why don't you speak about your own people? This is what I would tell y'all. It would come across a little different if he was doing this content on us, but just, calling a spade a spade. You know what I'm saying? It's not just us. When you look at this nigga channel, you would just think, God damn, black folks are demons. And that's not the case. There's demons in every single race, creed, ethnicity, nationality. But again, the focus is us. We the focus. Pay attention, man.
The spanking new McNeighborhood out in the sticks unless we build a big stupid wall to keep the Mexicans out of our country while drug and sex traffickers cross the border into theirs. Oh yeah, y'all ain't know that part, did you? And that's kind of my point, bucko.
Overall crime stats in America continue to go down, but the portrayal of crime on the news continues to go up because there's interest in it.
How about
people
that?
want to, people are they gravitate towards a black and white view of the world in a lot of senses. And a lot of times it reinforces their own stereotypes.
What I'm saying is, for as much good as the internet has done, particularly in giving us all greater access to information that most of us reasonably can consume, and so we just ignore most of it for the sake of maintaining our own implicit biases, it's also compromised journalistic integrity by removing the almighty.
Shout out Red. She said, just because a vulture asks you about your street politics doesn't mean that you have to tell them, and that's a fact. We play a role in this too. Again, everything that he's saying, he's doing this another way. He got statistics and this and that to back everything he's saying up, and that's why I'm running this. But I've said the same thing. I've said the same exact thing. You understand me? I feel that it's when it is on our end, like, yeah, shut your mouth. You don't have to answer these questions. But again, you think about Trapler Ross, he don't got niggas. He don't have niggas in these videos he's interviewing and they're saying this stuff. This is him creating these stories, stringing this shit together that he finds here and says that he's stringing this together. This right here specifically, we ain't even talking about, you know, niggas just running their mouth, which they do. You know what I'm saying? Which they do. But this ain't that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Reg Dog.
Editor from the publication process. Internet journalism is basically just one big just trust me, bro. And again, because we are inundated with way more information than we could ever possibly handle, most of us just kind of do that. The just trust me, bro part. It's also made the journalistic marketplace so deep and wide that you practically have to clickbait just to get enough engagement to make your content worth its creation. So not only do you get a gross misrepresentation of facts by mainstream outlets many times, but a lot of independents just straight up get stuff wrong with little to no consequences because the facts were never the fish hook to begin with.
And that's a fact. And I'm going to just be honest with y'all. Even everything that's going on, Rick Jizzle, what it do? Everything that's going on right now too, with niggas being locked up and they getting this one and that one. Even us, I watch us, right? Do this shit. And niggas is putting together this. Niggas be lying, talk about they know such and such. They talk to such and such from here and whoop, and it's a lie. It's a lie. All this shit is entertainment. I tell y'all all the time too. Like, yo, don't just take my word for some shit. Do your own research. Again, I'm not here to be like, yo, my word is bond and this is the end all be all. Like, I feel how I feel. I'm going to say how I feel. But you guys should also want to do your own research into things. Don't just take somebody's word for it, especially on this internet. Straight up. Shout out to the chat though. The best chat on YouTube. You hear me?
Was the sensational nature of the topic itself, which now brings me back to this nigga.
Trap Lord fan.
Look, I'm going to try not to spend too much time talking about Trap Lord Ross specifically because, like I said, he individually is not really the issue that I want to talk about. I'm not going to sit here and act like I even haven't fallen for some of his thumbnails, but what I will say is that when I saw that the face behind this one right here was a white British man, I ain't even gonna lie to you. It made all the sense in the world to me why he would even go this.
Look at this nigga, man. Look at Harry Potter. Look how thick those frames are. This is the nigga that y'all following for street content. This the nigga y'all following for street content, bro. Just look at him. The hell? Like, for real, gang? This is wild, bro.
My issue with, we'll take hip hop serial killer as an example with Trap Lord Ross. The hip hop in the hip hop serial killer is the part I don't like. Because I think a lot of these things are really crime stories.
Is there an argument to be made that
real quick, shout out F-Bombs. He said the problem with your own research is the internet will confirm everyone's personal bias. Tough times. That's a fact. Niggas say I'm on steroids, right? We be making jokes like I'm on steroids and shit, right? And I was telling Pharaoh, shout out Gangland Pharaoh, I was telling him, I was like, just run with it, bro. Like, it's funny. We know that I'm not on steroids, right? And I'm like, and hey, you can find different things in my stories and this, that, the other, where you could be like, hey, look at Niem's veins here, and then watch this, and then watch on this live when he crashes out, and you could piece some shit together to make it seem like I'm on steroids. You know what I'm saying? That's what the internet is. You can find anything on the internet to support what you're trying to convey, whether it be right, wrong, correct, or incorrect. That's what the internet is. It's tough times, like my dog said. It's a scary place. You know what I'm saying? That's why y'all got to do your own due diligence, man. Straight up.
The audience is that audience isn't necessarily a hip hop audience, but audience
that's 100%
is
what it is. That's what. See, that's where my issue is.
Right.
He's framing it as it's a hip hop thing. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't know. I didn't watch. It's like 3-4 hours. I didn't watch the whole. I got 20 minutes in. And I was like, I don't want to see this. You know.
Right.
No disrespect to Trap Lord Ross, but at the same time,
wow.
no disrespect to Trap Lord Ross because you know what I mean. Like so.
Right.
I got into it. I'm like, this isn't the energy that I'm on. Right. But that is the problem with it to me. Because people are rappers, or because people like hip hop in a lot of situations, or because people are affiliated with rappers or whatever, they will label this a hip hop problem. It's like black on black crime.
Right.
Well, if black people live near each other and they commit crimes, and now they're saying it was black on black crime. They don't call it white on white crime.
Right.
When people kill people who are there, they know. That's how it goes, generally speaking. Right. That's what the difference is with white supremacy. White supremacy will go on a hunt. They would start hunting people. Right. They don't like, you know what I mean? That's different.
Where are the white supremacy documentaries? Again, I think I need to make a pivot in this motherfucker. Straight up. I don't think niggas feel me though.
Different type of thing. And so a lot of these are like you're dealing with a population of people who generally come from underserviced communities who are in a cycle of institutionalized poverty, in my opinion.
I'm good, man. I'm good.
You know, in this country, and you're putting a camera on their actions and calling it and connecting it with something that
Harry Twatter, facts. Harry Twatter
literally exists to quell those things.
My issue with trap lore, aside from the fact that according to people who know much better than I do, I'm not from Chicago or New York, so I really don't know better. According to them, he regularly gets stuff wrong because he relies on subreddits instead of actually speaking to the source, is that his presentation is sensationalized to the point of often being straight up misleading at times, which itself is pretty suspect. But I mean, look at who he hangs around. For one, at least when I found him, he presented himself as a hip hop historian, which, okay, not a problem in itself. I mean, anytime I see white folks presenting themselves as any type of authority on hip hop, again, the antennas go up, man. But that's aside from the point. This is also despite the fact that the history covered rarely went back further than, like the late 2000s. His old content, with all that said, is inoffensive and actually pretty good and interesting.
Shout out Reg Dog. He said this is a wake-up call for all content creators. Yep, all content creators who participate in that shit. Straight up. It absolutely is. They're watching.
At least the stuff that actually does pertain to hip-hop is. And that's where the issue arises. You can see as time went on, he began to lean more into the true crime element of his subjects, to the point that these days he's more likely to cover Lil Durk's alleged body count than his discography, which he has. Talking about Durk's body count. Alleged again.
People just need to be humanists. People just need to listen to music. Like, people need to listen to rap music. My main problem with Trap Lord Ross is I've never heard him talk about rap music once. Like not once. Have I ever heard him talk about a bar or a beat? And maybe he does. I don't know. I've only watched a couple of his videos because they literally make me sick. Like, I literally get like going into Spencer's Gifts at the mall. Like, I just get kind of sick and I just want to go home. It's the decentering from the music that is the problem. And it's maybe a technological thing, because I don't think this is a white thing or a black thing, right? I think anybody who has said, would you like to hear a 45-minute discussion of somebody rambling words over and over again? Or would you like to hear about a couple of cool gangsters who caught and killed a couple other cool gangsters? There's the reptile part of our brain.
Right.
But the thing is, the reptile part of our brain exists in a systemically racist society, so that's the problem. It's like you have to work hard. You can't just say like, I don't know, sex sells, violence sells, so that's just what I do. Like you have to actively go against it.
Dude doesn't even cover rappers half the time, but teenage toy toters that are tangentially connected to figures in the hip hop world, like T-Roy and K.I., for example. And yeah, all of that did give me the ick, but it wasn't enough for me to actively dislike the nigga. It wasn't until I saw, again, this thumbnail that I realized that this nigga was the type of nigga that would probably brag about me calling him nigga. Again, I want to be transparent and tell y'all up front that I ain't even bothered to watch the joint. I was so put off by it. So I don't know how it was framed in the video. For all I know, maybe he did do a better job than the feds in actually giving the facts on the story, which I mean, it really ain't that hard considering, I mean, you know, COINTELPRO and all that. But the actual content of the video itself doesn't really matter in this case. It's the presentation of said content. It's the phrase serial killer. Hip-hop serial killer at that.
You're not supposed to do exploitative things with your work.
Right.
You're just not. You're not supposed to do a story or a research project or whatever where you are exploiting the problems and pain of your subjects for your own personal gain. And there is no frame through which to look at Trap Lord Ross's work and not see that that's exactly what he's doing.
Facts.
There's clear efforts to sensationalize what's happening.
I've told y'all on many different occasions that these people are capitalizing off of our trauma. Again, just like what's going on currently right now in this moment, people are capitalizing off our trauma. This is not life for them. But they see, oh, there's a bag in it. I did a whole shit with Brandon Bukkake, and I showed y'all where he came from. I showed y'all what he was doing in the beginning. I showed y'all his first little let's exploit the blacks video and how that went crazy and where he went from there. He tried to double back and do some other stuff, right? He did. You feel me? But he like, shit, ultimately the blacks are profitable. Again, they profit and benefit from our trauma. Straight up, nigga. And it's crazy that people even want to even watch any of that shit. Not trying to be like that. It's just so crazy to me. You know what I mean? Let's continue. Shout out to my chat, bro. The best chat on YouTube, hands down. And I appreciate y'all for rolling with me too. You know what I'm saying? My good people in here, I appreciate y'all for rolling with me.
There's clear leaps in logic when he calls King Von a serial killer. You know what I'm saying? There's clear efforts being made to emphasize and play up the most sensational parts. And especially because he's never actually talking to anyone directly, these people aren't getting money off of his work. They're not getting directly any type of direct financial gain. He's not getting permission. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he also doesn't have to deal with any consequences because his ass ain't even here. Is he here in the States? Did he move here?
No, he's still in. I don't know. I assume he's still in England.
Yeah. He is collected. He is a vaudevillian barker where he gets his steps up his stage and he brings out his black freaks and says, look at the freaks. Look at what they're doing. Look at this. Look at that. And like intrinsically, I think even people that watch him regularly understand that there's a problem there, but
they don't care.
They want to see.
Like, let's not beat around the bush, y'all. That's why this joint has 15 million views to date. I don't know.
Y'all real ones, bro. Niggas keep saying I'm a real one. Y'all are real ones. You understand me? Y'all real ones being in here for this right now. You know what I'm talking about? Straight up. Because, again, this is not, you know what I'm saying, the regular Bunk Skunk Friday. This is the bunkest skunkest of any Fridays that I've done, if you ask me. But I know, you know what I'm saying, I know what we be on. You feel me? But this just ain't that today. And y'all are real ones. I appreciate y'all for being in here with me for this. Shout out Keisha in the building. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out my good people, man. The best chat on YouTube. Y'all are.
How much a white English man understands about hood politics, although based on past videos I've seen of his, he at least should know how framing Vaughn this way is irresponsible at best, to the point that most honest-to-God journalists that I could think of would probably call it unethical. I'm not going to sit here and cape for Vaughn, y'all. I ain't doing that. But again, if you have the barest knowledge of how gangs and gang killings actually work, and you also know how serial killer psychology works, then you already know how and why I say that this framing is purposefully misleading. Again, irresponsible at best, and in my opinion, straight up unethical, especially for someone who calls themselves a hip-hop historian. But again, this is the nigga who offered uncensored photos of bullet-ridden black bodies on the paid tier of his Patreon. So I don't really expect much from him in terms of ethics. Again, what? I'm not that kind.
What? I didn't know that. I never rocked with bro anyway, but I did not know that. That's wild. Let's run this back. This nigga said
historian. But again, this is the nigga who offered uncensored photos of bullet-ridden black bodies on the paid tier of his Patreon. So I don't really expect much from him in terms of ethics. Again, I'm not that kind of channel, but if you do know what a serial killer actually is, and you also know the politics of street shooters and shootings, then you already understand how and why people like me felt a sort of way about it. And if you don't, go ask somebody who knows better. I'm sure y'all are bitching in the comments now. I'm just as sure somebody will be right along to check y'all for it. Remember, this channel is basically the hood nigga haven if you haven't figured it out yet. But why?
F-Bomb said his uncensored vids are on Patreon. Yes, that's wild, nigga. I never knew that. I never knew that, bro. How could anybody participate with this? I'm real quick, right? Shout out Viral Way. I like their content over there and everything, but again, I'm here to call shit down the middle. I don't like nobody enough where I can't talk about them, right? Now, I felt the way when Viral Way tapped in with Flacco, right? That's one thing. I super felt the way when I saw them niggas trekking Harry Potter through their hood. I wonder, is Viral Way aware that this is what Trapler Ross does on his Patreon? Because I was unaware. I'd venture to say they probably are too. But again, we in this climate where, yo, we just want to get the eyes. We just want to get the clicks. We just want to get the views. Nothing against Viral Way. But again, this is a different landscape, man. And it's like, hey, if you could bring some light over to what we doing, whatever, we might ignore the bullet-ridden dead bodies on your Patreon. Now, I'm not saying they're aware of this. I don't think they are. But again, sheesh. This shit don't intrigue me anyway. So as I never supported Trapler Ross, ever. He never did it for me. From the moment I clicked the video and saw, oh, this is what, oh, I'm out. Straight up. You know what I'm saying? It's like even that. You bring the nigga to your hood, trek him through your hood, but did you do your research on him? That's crazy, man. We got more of a responsibility out here, bro. I know that everything is just fucking content. Excuse me. I know that everything is just content, bro. But it's like, damn, bro, what responsibility do we have? What responsibility do you hold in things, bro? Do you really care? These are people who claim to care about their people. How? How do you care about your people? So confused, y'all.
Though. Why did Trap Lord not only know this stunt would work, but would probably be the most viewed video on his channel to date? Why has he and others like him been able to make a living off of what's basically the poverty tourist equivalent of Bat Boy Lives? For that matter, why are hood vlogs and drive-alongs not only such a successful but sustainable business model on this godforsaken app? More so than what I do here, I'll tell y'all that much. Yeah, I know where this is going, man. It's racism, dog. Before we get into that, though, we have to understand that race and class do not exist separate from each other. The whole point of race, at least the way we have understood race since...
Shout out my nigga Young Barry Gordy in the building. You hear me, Boomerang Gangland? That's my dog, man. Y'all show my boy some love. Magic John, what it do? Cash Rules Global, what it do, man? Again, that I'm low key. I just got thrown off right now. I just got thrown off. My bad, John. Oh yeah, My nigga Barry Gordy, GoFundMe is still up on my in my community section. You know what I'm saying? If y'all have it in y'all pockets and y'all hearts to do something to try to help that man, you know what I'm saying? Definitely go to my community section and drop some snaps on bro. You feel me? Shout out Barry Gordy, man. I meant to pull up to your shit last night too. It was a lot going on, gang. But shout out my nigga YBG in the building. That's Mr. Fantastic. What's this channel you watching? It's called Lil Bill, man. Real dope. Real dope. Tart Mystic, what it do? I seen you somewhere and I seen you talking righteous. I like that. Straight up. Shout out Mobucks with 199 on my 40. He said, best content team right here. Psh. Thank you, bro. Shout out me. I don't give a fuck. Excuse me. Shout out me. You know what I'm saying? Shout out my cousin Drea the Virgo. You know what I'm talking about? Because she worked hard and got relationships with a lot of these people. And these are, like I said, she got a relationship with Lil Bill. These are people who, you know what I mean? Not like my sector. Again, my cousin really isn't in my sector. She do this because I'm over here or whatever. But this is not the shit that she be on. You feel me? So shout out my cousin for that. Shout out Gvnglvnd Niem. She not in the building and shit, but her as well. You feel me? Shout out my team. You feel me?
The transatlantic period is to justify stratification and thereby exploitation of those who occupy the lower strata, in this case black and even indigenous American people. Literal entire societies, including this one, for y'all that's in America like me. So well, literally if you're anywhere west of the prime meridian, every society on this side of the globe, as well as Europe for that matter, are built on the concept of non-white people being something less than fully human. Thus, we are unworthy of humane treatment by white people. But this was never undone or even really given anything deeper than window dressing and kente scarves every June. Thus, Western society even today is inherently hostile to non-whiteness, blackness especially, to the point that said hostility functions as something of a fulcrum around which our society pivots. In other words, when all else fails, you can always form a lynch mob for folk to rally around. And you know what I mean? If you don't believe me, I talked about this a few years ago in regards to the rise of MAGA, but here's the thing that people either forget or don't care to mention about MAGA, is that it is only the latest iteration of the infamous Southern strategy around which American conservatism built itself after realignment, which it can be argued was just to that point the latest form of the eugenics movement from the early 20th century, which itself was just manifest destiny with pseudoscience to back it up. Y'all kind of see where I'm going. This is who and what we've always been. That's where I'm going. Long story short, the Southern strategy was the method by which the GOP reorganized itself in the wake of the rights revolution of the 50s and 60s. The plan was essentially appealing to the so-called silent majority of Americans who were discomfited with the rapid rise in status that not only black folk, but Latinos, queers, women, etc. gained in the prior decades. But GOP strategists understood that you couldn't just call a hard R anymore and expect it to fly in polite company. Instead, you had to wage a proxy war against the undesirables by way of things like anti-busing, the drug war, the war on crime, the pro-life movement, while also employing dog whistles like Thug and Welfare Queen to let folk know what type of time you was on, but also give yourself enough plausible deniability to pass the sniff test, you know what I mean? But why though? That's the thing I don't ever remember seeing a lot of people ask. Why was and is anti-blackness such a reliable rallying cry to the point that the right, for as many isms and schisms that exist within it, are able to put those aside and come together in a way that the left, even if you do want to exclude the liberals from that equation, never has, all in the name of anti-blackness?
Hey, shout out to the chat again. I appreciate y'all for being in here with me. Yeah, super predator bill. Never forget that. They called us super predators, my nigga, and that's something that will never leave. Pay attention. You know what I'm saying? But shout out all my good people Shout out all my good people in here for this, bro. I greatly appreciate this shit. Again, this is just knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Again, a lot of this shit that I've said in my own words, like I say, you know, oh, you like you don't gotta be book smart or whatever, but you gotta be book smart for this kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? So what I know is, as a leader, you know what I'm saying, of men, right? When I don't know how to do something a certain way, then I have to implore the right people to do it. Shout out Lil Bill, because he's busting this down. You understand me? I don't know this verbiage and shit. I'm not about to sit up here and act like I do. You know what I'm saying? But he's saying every single thing that I have told y'all in reactions. It's a fact. But he's just busting it down a different way. I think niggas need to hear this. Again, shout out to my chat. I appreciate y'all being in here. You feel me? Hey, don't deport. Don't deport. Don't spam shit in here, bro. It's all love. Like, it probably y'all said, yeah, I feel you. But let's not spam nothing in here. And I'm just letting you know that too before, you know what I mean? Let's not spam nothing in here. Shout out to y'all though. Shout out Gangland DJ with $4.99 on my photo. He said, best channel on YouTube. Get them likes up. Salute Niem. Salute you, fool. Appreciate you. Again, y'all know how I rock, man. I appreciate y'all. You feel me? Knowledge is power. As a fact. Listen to Pharaoh though, bro. Stop spamming. It's all love. You know what I'm saying? Do it up, participate and all that. Say your feelings. Just stop spamming. Cause nah, I feel gang. I ain't gonna lie. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Shit, look like nigga don't want to be here no damn way. Go on in. You know what I'm saying? But let's just shout out you, Backwood Bass Hunter. Shout out you, fool. You know what I'm saying? And again, you know what I mean? I feel you. You know what I'm saying? Let's just don't, you hear what I mean? Let's just don't spam shit up. You feel me? Shout out All Type Media in the building. Golly. It's my uncle in there. It's one of my uncles. Shout out my uncle in the building, man. All right, let's continue, y'all.
It's because racism, and more specifically anti-blackness, is literally baked into the fabric of our society to the point that it
How many times have I told y'all that? How many times have I told y'all that? Let me see how he worded that. Because again, I'm telling y'all, I have said every single thing that this man is saying in my own words. I'm not a scholar. I'm not, you know what I mean? None of that shit. But I've said all this shit in my own words. I told y'all racism was woven into the fabric of our nation. That's what I said. It's my quote. It's my quote. Listen to this man, though, with a bachelor's. You hear me?
That's the thing I don't ever remember seeing a lot of people ask. Why was and is anti-blackness such a reliable rallying cry to the point that the right, for as many isms and schisms that exist within it, are able to put those aside and come together in a way that the left, even if you do want to exclude the liberals from that equation, never has, all in the name of anti-blackness? It's because racism, and more specifically anti-blackness, is literally baked into the fabric of our society to the point that it crosses the political spectrum, to the point that it characterizes the far ends of that spectrum. Yes, both right and left, dog. This I covered 2 years ago, and the left has a whiteness problem, so I'm not going to bother entertaining any more white tanky cope over here.
You know, I mean, it sounds like, I mean, the thing about all these things, right? Even the Constitution, right? You know, journalistic principles, etc. You know, you described it as what it is to a degree, where it's like part of your job is to mitigate as much harm as possible. Well, that all depends on your perspective of what harm is. What harm is. That part of it, to me, is a moral position, and morals are defined by, at least in my opinion, morals are connected to the energy of an era. You know,
shout out Jazz in the building. That's my girl. Salute. Yeah, he going off, my nigga. You know what I'm talking about?
People who were alive during the slave trade looked at it as just a system. This is the world around them. They didn't feel inherently immoral, or that they were doing something immoral. And if you look at the prevalence and the gravity of social media at this point, a lot of these people are committing crimes on their phone and showing the world. Yeah. You know, I can see an argument where someone has a perspective that it's important to put together certain types of sensationalized videos, thinking less about the on-the-ground consequences for the people that they're putting in these videos or who are affiliated with them, and more about this system of these people, of people who are committing crimes online, who might be inciting more crimes. You know, I don't necessarily have that same point of view, but I can see it.
Every major American institution, from policing to education to organized religion, hell, to the U.S. Constitution itself, are and were built with the express intended purpose of establishing and reaffirming the primacy of the white race, specifically straight white men.
It's nothing against no religion or nothing. You feel me? I'm for whoever believes in a higher power. But remember, at one point, Christianity was used to bring us in as slaves and kill us, bro. Pay attention. Racism is the root of every organization, everything in this nation. It's a fact. But nobody wants to talk about that kind of shit. Straight up. Shout out to the chat, man. I appreciate y'all, for real. I appreciate y'all being in here with me. See, a lot of y'all dropped off. That's cool. You probably shouldn't be here anyway. Straight up.
Direct expense of indigenous and black Americans. So no, nigga, it's not just a class thing. It's a class and race thing. But the reason that you hyper focus on the class part is that that's the only part that really affects you directly. So then again, it begs the question, how leftist are you really? Are you just another disgruntled capitalist using leftism as a means to access the privilege that, you know what? I did this already. Watch the old Jones, man. America was never great to us because it was never meant to be great to us. So when people like me hear stuff like make America great again, or worse than that, take America back, nigga, take America back from who exactly? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Or actually, I do know who you're talking about now, and that's the problem. We hear and we see people rallying around racism is what I'm saying. And that's especially true in the most recent election cycle. Argue whatever you will about why Harris didn't get the votes and why Biden likely wouldn't have either. Matter of fact, he probably would have done worse than Kamala did, to keep it a buck. But it's getting harder and harder to argue after already seeing what a Trump presidency would look like 8 years ago, and after all the things he did back then, and after all the things he said leading up to this election, and after seeing him follow through on a lot of that bigotry, even if not the primary motivator, was some type of motivator for why folk voted for this dickhead again. That bigotry primarily targeted toward dark-skinned people. And understand something, I think this is where our understanding of anti-blackness is limited. When people hear racist or bigoted or anti-black, they immediately go to a Klan hood and a swastika and a goose step, which I mean, considering the last election cycle, again, bet. But it's not just that.
Y'all seen on my y'all seen on the news, I'm like, again, I'm trying to switch things up and bring something a little different to my channel. I understand what niggas is here for. And that's cool, and I understand, you know what I'm saying, it's entertainment for y'all too. I do understand that. But in the news, right, I covered this right here. I covered this. Niggas can just do this. No one was arrested. They talk about they're doing an investigation. They're doing an investigation. Where's the deep dive on this? Daily Dose of Jazz, what it do? Pape, what it do? Where's the deep dive on this? This not interesting? This is interesting to me. This is interesting to me. These niggas operate in the public shadows, if you ask me, because it's out there. It's out there. But you don't see these same people who are capitalizing on us doing deep dives on this. This type of shit affects us. Again, racism, white supremacy, all this shit is woven into the fabric of our nation. Niggas ain't talking about this, nigga. Trapler Ross is not talking about how these people ended up in these situations, right? He don't talk about the bigger play at hand. He talk about the individuals sensationalizing this shit. But you got niggas out here masked up with swastikas doing the whole thing. It's broad day. Look at the lights out. This is broad day when these niggas doing this dressed up. I told my brother, I said, that would scare me. That shit would scare me. Fuck, where are the deep dives about this? Again, I'm gonna have to make a pivot, y'all. Straight up. I just be feeling overwhelmed. Like, can I do this? How do I do this? Again, I'm not educated like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? But this is wild. Who's gonna listen to this? If I do this, who's gonna listen to me talk about this? Because y'all rather talk about little pooty poo shooting up the block, spinning back, and then making a fucking record about it. Excuse my language. That's what's interesting to people. This is interesting to me, how these guys can operate in plain sight. That's not interesting. Like, come on, you got niggas head of Google, head of this, that. Nigga, in his off time, nigga, he got the pitchfork, the white cloak, whatever you call that shit. Doing it up. Some niggas you standing next to. Don't think that every racist, every bigot, every white supremacist have on a hood, fool. Sometimes the niggas standing right next to your ass. Straight up. Sometimes them niggas own the biggest hip-hop platform in Los Angeles. Sometimes them niggas own the biggest documentary channel on YouTube. Just throwing that out there.
Election cycle again, bet. But it's not just that. As with any construct, racism is a spectrum that often gets ignored for the binary end.
They aren't giving us shit. Don't hold your breath because you'll pass out. They not giving us nothing. They not giving us anything, y'all. Sorry to be Debbie Downer. They're not giving us a damn thing. That's why everything that we have to work extra hard for. So they're not giving us anything, bro. Pay attention. Shit, think about sports and shit, right? Niggas look at these contracts. Oh, he's got $40 million guaranteed, this, that. Do y'all ever look into what these sports organizations make as a whole? Selling these folks likeness? Because you know all that's in a contract, right? Selling these folks likeness, selling their jerseys, selling their everything. Do you know what they make when they Salt Bay niggas a little 40 million? Now 40 million sound like a gang because we ain't got no millions, right? So 40 million is like, oh, they're really gonna, but are they? Pay attention, man.
Of it, the most extreme parts on both sides. On one end, you have your drunk uncle who spray painted the F slur on the gay interracial neighbor's Prius last Thanksgiving. And then on the other end, you got stuff like black.com. And don't act like y'all don't know what I'm talking about. The stuff y'all be posting on it, that was half the reason why I got off of Twitter to begin with. I don't need to see no more white coochie lips, man. I'm so serious about that. What I'm saying is, on one end there is vilification, and on the other end is exoticism. But both come from the same tree. Blackness is not standard in the society. It's not conventional. It's not even normal, according to white supremacy. And again,
facts, bosses. Black
people, according to white supremacy, aren't actually people. We exist for exploitation. That's it. And for some folk, that exploitation manifests as fetishization.
Hey, and I want to say this real quick too. Just to piggyback off of what bro said. Like, y'all know we still operate off of a constitution that considers us like a third of a nigga. Like, excuse me. We still operate off of a constitution that considers us a third of a person. Niggas ain't even changed that. Niggas ain't even changed that, man. Nobody. They haven't even changed that. I see niggas in the chat talk about reparations. Never. They don't even look at us as people. We're product, cattle, my nigga. I hope that don't go over your heads.
My point is, when you see a black person, more than likely, the first thing you see is black before you see person. And that evokes any number of responses, from hostility to fascination, even infatuation. But your response, again, more than not, is always going to be toward their otherness and not their humanity, because you don't see yourself in them. Your response is not to the person, but your response is to the construct that that person represents and your feelings toward that construct. But get this, that ain't even your fault. I made this argument in the past, and it's a hill that I'm willing to die on. Being racist doesn't necessarily make you an inherently bad person. I think this is the big reason why a lot of folk avoid confronting their anti-black or anti-queer, misogynistic, or whatever other issue that they got going on, because we limit our understanding of such concepts to just hatred. So therefore, I can't be X-phobic if I don't hate X identity, but that's the rub. Just because you don't hate it don't mean that you respect it, let alone do you see the humanity in it, let alone do you see its equality to your identity.
Again, what he's speaking to right now is white privilege, right? This is what I would say too. I don't think that every white person is racist or any of that, but this is what I'm gonna tell you, right? Every single white person benefits from their privilege. They do. Every single white person has to acknowledge that. And if you don't, there's a problem there. Doesn't matter if you're not racist. Oh, I'm not racist, I got black friends, and that's cool. But do understand that you benefit from your privilege. Whether you are, you still benefit from this. Pay attention.
The problem is in reducing bigotry to its extremes. Either you're an ally or you're a goose-stepping Nazi again. Those are the only two options you get. And then when you point out that just not being a goose-stepping Nazi with SS bolts pinned to your lapel isn't good enough, people throw a fit, because again, we live in a society where nothing matters until it impacts me directly. We don't critique equally harmful reductions of non-standard identities. So going back to the black.com example, God, I hope this joint stays monetized. The reason why you can build a whole website built around tiny white girls getting dug out by big black bucks is because of the way black men's sexuality has and continues to be understood and thereby depicted by and in popular culture.
It would not be hard to find a couple 100,000 black men that have been assaulted by white women based completely on the experience you talked about. And why is that? And let alone white men. And foreign men has talked about fucking having white dudes come up to him in the gym being like, can you fuck my wife? Facts. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's a real thing. We're not even gonna get off into that. I'm not here for that, but that is a real thing. You know what I'm saying? These rich white folks, rich white men, some of them ain't even that rich, right? But it's a fetish for them. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to nobody or anything, but I covered a story a minute ago. You know what I'm saying? Where a man had his black woman in T-shirts that say, I love white boys, and like that. This is wild. What's going on? Shit.
That's real. No, that's real. That is real.
And that's also connected to an Ahmaud Arbery, right? Where he's jogging and got off his path at the wrong time, looked in an empty house, and now is being chased by two white men who are playing vigilante and end up murdering him in the process. You know, what we're talking about goes back to Fanon, Du Bois, all the, let me name drop the motherfuckers for y'all, but y'all know what I'm talking about. It goes back to profiling. It's the way blackness is imagined and has always been imagined since slavery. Black bodies in general carry all this meaning, and most of it is negative. And it's not just trap lore loss. It's a history. It's a historical depiction of blackness as other, as inhuman, as dangerous, as corrupt, as always sexually available. You know what I'm saying?
As exotic.
As everything but worthy of respect and dignity and human rights, as existing for our consumption and commodification.
Y'all might think it's flattering to assume that all black dudes are just walking around with a T-ball bat swinging between their legs.
We are a commodity, bro. We are a commodity. Pay attention.
But even if true, it reduces black men to just being that, and it reflects in people's behavior toward us. I've talked in the past in several videos now about my own experiences of being fetishized and even objectified based on my blackness alone. And not just by white women, but white men, straight white men at that. But that's another video that I have no interest in doing. Ask Feek to do it. Matter of fact, one time I was actually, if we're gonna keep it a buck, low-key kind of assaulted by a white John. But, and this isn't me caping for the snow bunnies or anything.
Pay attention, bro. What did Adam do? What did Adam do? The first person that he, shout out bosses. Shout out bosses in the chat. Adam's in the corn industry, right? Doing it up. Oh, yeah. Oh, corn. Oh, yeah, corn. He have nobody sleeping with his woman, right? He have nobody was sleeping with his woman. The first person that he allowed to sleep with his woman on camera, wear that thing out, was a big, y'all laugh about this, corn-fed cuz. I call him corn-fed cuz, right? The biggest, blackest nigga he could find, gang. What? The biggest, blackest nigga he could find. It's the first person that he lets inside of his wife. Why is that? So we made a shit ton of money. We made a shit ton of money. I mean, I don't need this podcasting shit because we made a shit ton of money spreading my woman's lips open and letting Jason Love ram her. That's crazy. The fuck?
She just didn't know better because she had never been taught better. Her understanding of black masculinity came almost exclusively from rap videos and pornography. Yeah, so there you have it. I'd even argue that half the reason for that site's popularity is the taboo of these inherently hypermasculine sex bots that we call black men having their way with what are, again, typically depicted to be very petite white women who themselves...
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This nigga's baby oil, fool. This nigga got baby oil, fool. Welcome to Black Draw. Shame on niggas. Shame on, like I like I'm a freak, right? But this doesn't do it for me. This don't do it for me. I'm gonna just be real. This doesn't do it for me. Little petite, little small, really this big. Oily ass niggas, man. What the fuck? Wow, let's go.
Aren't supposed to be this sexual, and if they are, it's because they're deviants. And if and when they are deviant, it is only the inherent sexual prowess, even deviance of the black man that can satisfy them. It's either that or once they have been conquered.
I am so lonely.
By a black man, many times reluctantly, it turns them out. You know, once again, that whole once you go black thing and whatever. Again, this ain't that video, but there's a sense of power I think a lot of white men get from living vicariously through the bodies of black men. And I feel like there was a whole movie made about that. Well, c'est la vie. This is in sharp contrast to black women who historically are depicted.
Shout out Jordan Peele. You hear me?
as nothing but a bunch of dick desperate Jezebels, which is why we need to outlaw abortion, of course, to punish them for their promiscuity. Yeah, you see how I tied that in, right? Like, I'm so serious. Give me a call, BET. I swear, giving me a show would be a lot better than just running House of Pain reruns and black trauma porn all day.
They won't do that.
Which I guess brings me to another non-counterpoint that I didn't even bother to address earlier. Well, what about all of those non-black people that they cover? Well, what about them, nigga? Y'all don't watch those videos. That's kind of my point. Go look at any of those channels, and the least viewed videos over there almost always are the ones with white faces.
And they know that. And they know that. Mind you, look here, I'd love to have me 167 viewed video, right? But you look at the Gangs of Atlanta, and you see that 2.9 M's, bitch. Which one are you going with? All right. Shout out to my chat. I'm glad a lot of y'all still in here with me. Shout out to the best chat on YouTube. Pay attention. Mr. E in the building. That's my dog. Shout out my brother W Stream. Appreciate that, bro. Cause I know you like the opposite of all this. Shout out my brother. But he's the bunkest skunkest. My brother is the bunkest skunkest, gang. You know what I'm saying? So the W Stream mean a lot from you, Mickey. I won't lie to you. So I know you don't care about this shit.
Thumb that aren't already famous. But why though? Because the majority of people watching these Jones aren't black. Now, I don't need a survey to tell me that. It's just, it's simple mathematics, guys. These folk, like their creators, are fascinated by blackness, a very specific experience and depiction of blackness at that. Like Trap Lord Ross even says so himself at one point. The problem again is that media has normalized this depiction to the point that it is seen even by a lot of black folks as the standard of black experience by those who don't know better. This type.
Real quick to piggyback off that. Remember when Kiwi Head was sitting with the Apollo, right? And he was like, I just do like regular things, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, my experience is just, I just do regular things. Like, if we don't do regular things, he said, I pick my son up from school, we go to the bookstore, and then we get ice cream. Those of you who follow my content, y'all remember me being like, damn, I guess I'm a white man too. Because that's my experience. I pick my son up from school. Shout out Fats. That's my dog. I pick my son up from school. You know what I'm saying? One of his favorite places, him and his mom, mine as well, is Reparation Club. You feel me? It's a bookstore. They got a lounge there. The people are good people. You feel me? We also go to Cold Stone's Creamery. Get chocolate ice cream with chocolate sprinkles on it. I said, damn, I'm a white man. I just found out I'm a white man. That's crazy. Niggas speak about a specific group of people that's very small in the grand scheme of things. Again, I be telling y'all, yo, gang members and everything, they're everywhere, right? Everywhere. But that's such a small percentage of us as a people is wild. But again, they put all this shit out here and make it seem like, oh, this is just the day-to-day average of a black man. I don't do none of that crazy ass shit niggas is talking about. You know what I'm saying? My son will never, a young black man will never do any of that shit that they're talking about. You know what I'm saying? But this is the standard for us. Like if we don't live regular lives. Again, I was on street TV, niggas asked me, oh man, you know, you'll say, well, what are your affiliations and all this shit? Niggas, doesn't matter. I don't got no affiliations, nigga. Ain't got none. And why does that make a difference? Why is that even a fucking question? Who cares? You see what I'm doing here? You respect what I'm doing here. Why does an affiliation make any difference? Why try to tie me to something where I'm trying to make a complete pivot and show y'all that, yo, this is not we are not a monolith. Everybody ain't running around. What's up? That's not it. That's not it. I hope this shit don't go over y'all heads. Again, I seen a lot of y'all drop out of here, and that's cool. Maybe you're not supposed to be here. Those of you who are here, I hope this shit don't go over y'all heads. Shout out to y'all. But
of content also dehumanizes that experience by, again, leaning into its sensational nature. I'd even argue and say that the dehumanization has itself been normalized by not just content creators, but mainstream media. The value of blackness is in its otherness, according to media. That otherness is what fascinates most white people. Blackness is alien. Blackness is unconventional. It's exotic even for a lot of folks.
The hardest thing to do.
Somebody say your name is Gvnglvnd Niem. What does that mean, though? I'm from Los Angeles. What do they call Los Angeles? Gangland. What difference does that make, bro? Y'all listen to a white man who talks about our culture getting everything wrong, and his name is Trap Lil Ross. What trap he been to? What has he trapped? I digress.
Is to figure out, like, especially for white
Whose
listeners,
man is that?
Like, there really is
Shout out
an
Professor
internal
Scott.
impulse to believe that everything belongs to you. And I know that's like a conspiracy theory about white people. And after a life of being a white person, I can tell you that, like, it's true. It is actually in our mindset. It's not like a conscious thought, but it's like the subconscious feeling. So, like, I think that has a lot to do with it, because the more exotic it seems, there is some degree to which that's the more you want to feel you can possess the thing. And that's going back to that unkind interpretation of white people enjoying hip hop, you know, the feeling that, like, oh, I can't go into this space. I can't know what this is. Oh, I had a nice high school, so that this person had a school that shut down its after school programs. And then because of that, hip hop was created. I want to go into that space and I want to participate in it. So I remember watching Boys in the Hood with me and like 5 other of my other white suburban friends. And we'd all watched the movie a couple of times. And we were with a friend of mine, you know, like a new kid who just showed up. And he just goes, why are they all drinking beer out of such big bottles? and we laughed at him so hard because we knew what a 40 was. We knew what Old English was. And it's like,
and real quick before I let Professor Scott continue, understand that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm really from the land, born and raised, never went nowhere, nothing like that. It's almost like what I do, like, for lack of better words, like a parody, right? Gvnglvnd Niem. I'm not on here throwing up gang signs or cuz blood. I'm not on here doing that, right? I also my super chats, I call them snaps on the 40, right? If you really understand, this is a play. I don't even drink, gang. This is a play on what this shit is, right? But niggas don't get that. You know what I'm saying? Again, just for the record, I come on here like this because I am y'all, right? And I just try to show y'all something different. I dress like niggas, talk like niggas. I do all the same shit as niggas except for that shit, right? Again, like I said on Street TV, I'm just trying to show niggas something different from gangland. That's what this is that I do here. A lot of y'all do realize that, and some of y'all don't. And maybe it's not for you. You get me? Shout out to my chat, though. Shout out Dago Dog in the building, man. Shout out Dago Dog with 1999 on my 40. On my 40. On my big, large container of beer. They not like us. They could be someone who looks like you. True, we are not monolithic. It's a fact. It's a fact. Shout out Dago Dog in the building, man. Appreciate you being in here, bro. Cavelli in the building. You know what I'm saying? Vic in the building. Not Rosecrans Vic. Shout out Vic Hefner. That's our real ones here, my dog. Shout out BOS, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate all y'all in here who really rocking with the shit. Jazz, shout out you too. You sent me a Cash App. And you know what I'm saying? I got certain things tied about Cash App and everything. So the money just, you know what I'm saying, just go or whatever. But I meant to hit you about that. I appreciate that. Shout out everybody who sent snaps on the 40. Shout out everybody who sent Cash Apps. I don't really be having my cash tag up or nothing like that in my videos no more because I'll be forgetting to put it up. But shout out to everybody who support me. What up, Cavelli? Salute. Glad niggas is in here. Name your pardon me. Name your creativity is missed because people tend to be simple. That's a fact. And I understand that too, but that's why I try to be simple. Again, I don't come on here with all this shit and try to be like and all this stuff and try to be going over people's heads and I'm so smart and I'm just me. I'm just me who got an opinion and feel a way about things and care about my people. Hey, secret, I care about the world. I care about everybody, even though everybody don't care about me. I care about everybody, even though everybody don't care about us, but my focus is my people because my people don't get enough focus. I hope that don't go over your heads. Pay attention. Shout out to the chat though.
Why were we laughing? We had never had a 40. We had never been in a store where they sold a 40. We had never seen anybody drink a 40 in real life. Like, we knew that that's what they said they did. But there's something about that moment where, like, because there is a real degree to which it's intoxicating. Anytime you're given a code and you get to decipher that code, you don't always think about where that code comes from. So just like, why are they drinking beers out of such large bottles? Like, when you know that answer, you feel cool. And like, I guess we must have felt some sense of possession over that that we didn't earn because we just saw it in a movie.
That said, again, exoticism is just dehumanization by another name. And this has very real world consequences, like the disproportionate way in which black crime is covered by the news compared to actual incidents of such in the same areas. This I talked about in the New Jack City video, so I'm not going to repeat myself here. But the question we're asking again is, how does anti-blackness tie back to our love for poverty tourism to the point that white men with mustaches have basically become Don Diva for Generation Crash Out? Like I said in How the Hood Was Commodified, I forgot which one, just watch them all, bruh. The music industry doesn't really sell music. It sells a brand, an image, and more often than not, that brand is some form of deviance. It's even taboo many times. The most obvious example I can give y'all is the hypersexualization of black women in music, rap music especially. Y'all can talk me down all y'all want about this, but Iggy Azalea could have never made WAP. Or, I guess she could have made it, but then we'd have all clowned her for blackfishing again, which... It's kind of my point, right? We just wouldn't have accepted it from her because that's not the way that white women's sexuality typically is depicted in media. Look at the way Sabrina Carpenter has been.
I disagree, though. She could have made WAP. She could have made WAP. Just throwing that out there.
Received despite what she doing being relatively tame compared to some of the stuff that I just saw on basic cable being done by black girls with no names in the mid 2000s. Matter of fact, Lana Del Rey built her whole gimmick on her alleged sexual deviance, but that's what made it work. The taboo of a white girl, her way to the top. If that were Rihanna or SZA, hell, I'm gonna even go ahead and say Doja Cat. It would have been just another Tuesday. Hell, Summer Walker has entered the chat. The same can be said of black men in the same genre, but just as much as black sexuality, black criminality is sensationalized and commodified in hip hop music, specifically that of men, and that's kind of where I'm getting at.
You know, like if it's a crime thing,
damn, that's deep.
To me, it becomes problematic when you put a different.
Hey, that's deep, because I never even thought about that, like with the women in hip hop and everything like that, and just like, you know, like, who do we see, like, what you think that there aren't white women that feel the way the city girls feel and all that, but that shit ain't pushed to the forefront, right? There's a reason for that. You think it's not white girls around there smacking they pow pow, yeah, pow pow, smacking that thing, bending over, grabbing that thing. But what do they push to the masses? They push them black women doing that shit. That was deep. That was deep.
Label on it, because now that reinforces what people think about, especially people who are outside of hip hop when they think of hip hop. But this is like you know, there's a lot of things like this. This is like
Young.
Gangland.
Appreciate you, bro.
You know, the docu-series that looks at, you know, Bloods and Crips. I had know, one of the writers for DX, came to me when I was editor-in-chief and was like, I want to do a story on the Bloods and Crips. And I was like, why? He was like, because we could win a Pulitzer Prize. And I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. We are real people in LA. If we do something, people will really pull up.
Yes.
You know, we don't need the creative director having to worry about, you know, her walk to the car. We don't need these interns getting pulled into something that, no, we are not going to do that. It's a story that's always going to be of interest, sure, but there are real repercussions, and a lot of times they're unpredictable, right? And so, you know, I think all of that plays into people's the fetishization of Black death and Black bodies in a lot of ways, and we see that way more outside of hip hop than we do within hip hop. But hip hop is a vehicle that has a lot of interest in it because it is the music of our generation, the culture of our generation. And when
I've argued in the past that half the reason people listen to street rap is the same reason we ride roller coasters or watch scary movies.
For the
it's
thrills.
the thrill of being in danger without having to deal with any real consequences. Some of us are just fascinated with
until that roller coaster crash or malfunction, which is what you're seeing right now at No Jumper. Pay attention. I hope that don't go over your heads.
Even exhilarated by the taboo of taking a life, of breaking most society's #1 rule, thou shalt not kill. And we're equally fascinated by those who do so and why they do so. But then there's another factor that I think is so blatantly obvious that we have a tendency to forget about, and that's that gangbanging looks cool as hell. Or at least it does for those who are too young or too lame to know better. I'm in my 30s, man. I'm gonna be real. Gangbanging always looked dumb to me. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I can say it. I ain't from the West Coast. Like, I can't really speak to the Midwest or the West Coast, but in the Northeast, we don't really have gang culture the way that a lot of y'all out there do. Like, yeah, we've always had, you know, groups of neighborhood ruffians squabbling over schoolyard crushes and whatnot. And we've also had neighborhood, if not citywide.
Lil Bill, that's gang culture, though. That's gang culture, Lil Bill. Nothing, you know what I'm saying? But that's gang culture. Again, y'all might call it something different. Y'all might not have colors, signs, or whatever, but it is still gang culture. And I happen to know that some of the same gangs that are out here in LA, the West Coast, are in Philly too. Nothing against Lil Bill, but just throwing that out there. You know what I'm saying? Just let folks know.
Criminal enterprises like JBM in Philadelphia and Supreme Team up in Queens. But we never had anything like Crips and Bloods or anything like that. Or at least we never had it to that scale. Gangs outside of the Northeast, to me, always came off like, for lack of better phrasing, alternative boys clubs. And that's not meant as any shade. Matter of fact, that's really where a lot of that culture comes from if you know the history of it, to keep it a buck. What I mean is, in the Northeast, there wasn't that, again, for lack of better phrasing, sense of brotherhood that LA and Chicago gangs presented themselves as. Gang culture in the Northeast, at least as far as I can remember, has always primarily been presented as a business model first and foremost, a hierarchy by which dope boys could keep their operations running on all cylinders. If you were 20 and older, you didn't claim a set to be a part of, you know, you did it because you wasn't going to be able to push weight on your block unless you did anymore. Again, this is once gangs became a thing.
Somebody in the chat said LA gang culture is just unique in its own thing. It definitely is, and like, you know what I'm saying? Again, I'm not here to be like, oh yeah, we started the shit, but you know, this is the thing. Like, we kind of just did this thing here in the West where it's like Crips, Bloods, Hoovers, Paros, red, orange, blue. We did that. But again, when you go to these different places, when you're battling over blocks, territories, and this, that, and the other that you don't even own, it's the same thing. A group of people together, a group of white people, a group of any people together is a gang. Look up the definition. A group of people together is a gang, right? So if you got a group of people, even in Philly, and yo, you niggas running around, hey nigga, I'm from North, I'm from Whoop, that's a gang. You don't gotta be a Crip or a Blood, but that's a gang too. So just understand that. You feel me? Not taking it away from anything that this man is saying, but the facts are the facts. You know what I'm saying? I know that, hey, when you talk about fetishized, hey, LA is fetishized. That's a hard one. Fetishized. LA is fetishized. Everybody look at that shit, ooh, to the point where now these same gangs that originated here in the land are everywhere. In the UK, again, this is my thing to Harry Potter. Yo, you got the same gangs and shit that's out here, out there. You don't cover none of that. Come on, gang. Come on, man.
Over here. And if you were 20 and younger, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that it wasn't, for some people, a combination of protection and camaraderie, but half the time niggas did it because it just looked cool. Again, we didn't have Crips and Bloods and GDs and all that until the 90s, and even then it didn't blow up like that until the early 2000s, when that aesthetic was fully commodified by mainstream media. Lil Wayne, The Game in his pre-cornball days, and Dipset especially, if you're from where I'm from. That's why niggas wanted to bang. It wasn't to protect your block from the kids up the street. Hell, there was kids from the burbs repping sets from the inner city, and nobody batted an eyelash, because again, there was never really a gang culture in the Northeast until the media created one for us, and they did so by making it look cool as hell. Truth be told, most of the bangers I knew growing up never really banged insofar as actually putting in any work for their set. They just got their ish kicked in by a bunch of older boys and maybe sold a few nickel bags and 8 balls from time to time, but they wasn't really about no real action, and they weren't trying to be. They got down because you couldn't wear a certain.
Hey, shout out Politics. He said it's not the gangbanging that attracts, it's the tribalism, the unity, having people who got you regardless. It's that is that's true, but this is the thing. It's also what bro is saying though. Niggas just think this shit look cool. I'll be honest with you, right? You know, my uncles and my mom, my pops in the home. My pops was a gang member. I used to see him and his dicky suit together. I'm not glorifying anything, right? Because I don't sit up here and do that, because that's not what I'm on. That's not what I'm trying to push, right? But I used to look at my dad, right? And he put his shit on, boom. Lace up his Chucks or his Cortez, nigga. He throw on his dicky suit, my nigga. Throw on his Raider lid, my nigga. Throw that pistol in his waistband. Nigga, that shit look cool to me. I wasn't thinking about no damn tribe or nobody who had my back, and I'm from this shit. Just throwing that out there, Politics. It wasn't about no damn tribalism or people who got my back. Hey, at the end of the day, we grow up with families. Don't get me wrong. Some of us, we have our differences with the family where, yo, your family unit ain't the average family unit. You might be lacking, which is a reason why people run the gangs and shit like that. But I'm going to tell you, I had a good family unit, right? And my dad, when I would see that nigga lace up and that shit looked cool to me. It looked dope. Straight up. It wasn't about no brotherhood or camaraderie. I was like, I want to be like that nigga. That shit looked tight. He get to run around with a pistol, which led me into doing all kind of shit and ended up in, you know what I'm saying, in different positions that I had no business being in. And he never tried to push that on me. My dad was a very intelligent man, bro. Very intelligent man. He could speak in any room with anybody about anything, but he was what he was. My dad's story was my father's story was the story that Politics talk about though, right? When I got old enough and like, what's up? Like, how, like, you know, say what's up with you, nigga? Just know, you know what I'm saying? Learning about my dad. What's up with you? The stories that he told me on why he actually joined a gang was wild to me. He was a scared boy. He was a scared boy who felt like he didn't have nobody. That's why my dad joined the gang. Straight up. The only hero, one of the only heroes that I ever had, my nigga, was a scared boy. That was the reason he joined the gang. You know what I'm saying? So you absolutely right. But again, let's go to my generation. I just thought the shit looked cool. Straight up. But let's continue.
Colorway on your J's or tie your Timbs a particular way unless you was down. You couldn't rep certain sports teams or use certain slang if you wasn't. There was a sense of exclusivity to being a gangbanger that until that time didn't really exist in this region unless, again, you were just a straight up dope boy. Like, there are no gang affiliates where I'm from. You're either down or you're not. And you're not because you're from the wrong neighborhood, but because you're too square to hang with the cool kids. The gangbangers were the boys with the Pele jackets and the Nextel flip phones from the Boost Mobile commercial. They were the ones that all of the pretty girls with the long lashes and fat asses wanted to talk to, not the losers on the football team like myself, or at least that's what I was led to believe until 2 years after it was too late. Like, damn, Tiff, like, seriously, was the peer pressure that bad? Like, come on. Too late is the story of my life. Again, that's what we were led to believe by folk like, you know, Cameron and Jim Jones, and I can't help but feel like that presentation carried over into poverty tourism that we see today. Even if you can't be a banger, you can learn enough about them to feel tapped in, and then hold that over your friends and crushes as some kind of arcane and forbidden knowledge of coolness. What I'm saying is, a lot of y'all that indulge in this media, y'all, I'm gonna keep it a buck.
Kiwi Head loves to say, "Oh, I know about the culture." He like to say that. I know, you know, I know a lot about gangbang culture because of my podcast friends. He likes to say that. You don't know shit. Adam Grand Mason.
Y'all are losers, lames, fakes, phonies, and stands, but nobody has to know that so long as you can fake the funk, right?
All right, so after watching this joint back, I realized that I probably didn't spend as much time on this section as I should have. And even if I did, I definitely didn't go as hard as I could have. So I'm going to try to rectify some of that right now in light of some. Let's just call them developments. I'll put it that way. So evidently, the Buckingham boy did get shot recently from what else but sticking his nose into somebody else's drawers drawer a few too many times. And I mean, water is wet, sky is blue. I'm not going to give you a medal for poking the bear and finally getting bit, nigga.
Facts.
Now, from what I understand, it wasn't a targeted shooting because, it was just another case of niggas not actually knowing how to shoot. But in the process of digging deeper into the incident, I came across a few subreddits that prove exactly my point about the cornball BS that you cul-de-sac dwelling middle incomers be on when y'all watch this garbage. I saw a bunch of presumably non-black niggas, and if they are black, they're definitely not that kind of black, praising the boy for standing on business and staying solid for not snitching. And that's the ish that I be talking about with you lamos. First of all, who the F do you think is going to give him a hood pass anymore after they find out he spilled the beans to the pigs? That's not staying solid. That's knowing how and where your bread is getting buttered. It's just good business sense, man. Second, and more importantly, it always makes me grind my teeth when I see or hear civilians talking this way. Like, you mofos wouldn't know a Drake from a steak if it hit you upside the head, but you feel comfortable using all this street language because you heard niggas use it on the internet. Like, for real, stop all of that. It's corny, it's lame, it's any other adjective you want to put to it. Like, believe it or not, we can actually tell who really knows the dirt based on the context with what you use this language. And a failed art teacher getting his cameraman a flesh wound from hosting was basically a Nat Geo special for cornballs like you is not standing on business. It's a nigga sticking his nose where it's neither wanted nor needed by anyone but niggas who cross the street when a black face is coming toward them, and they'll wind up going home and jerking off to the thought of that same black face dicking down the crush that they can't get themselves. And
I don't know. Shout out to my people in the chat. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to my chat, the best chat on YouTube. I appreciate y'all being in here rocking with me, right? Like, I don't. You know, I'm sure y'all have experienced this. I'm talking to my people at this moment, right? I am blessed to have been able to get out of the hood You know what I'm saying? It's shit that goes on everywhere, but I'm not in the heart of the hood, right? And where I'm at, bro, quite often I'll just be walking in my neighborhood. I'm on the phone. I like to just take a walk because I could do that now, right? Just take a walk. Don't matter what I got on, nothing. I could just take a walk. I'm on the phone. I will see a white person approaching. We're on the same sidewalk, right? Niggas that had a dog too. White people like to have pit bulls. I don't know if y'all knew that. White people like to have pit bulls, big ass pit bulls and shit. Nigga will walk into the street to not walk by me. I know y'all have experienced that. You know what I'm saying? Like my man say, but then you go home and jerk it to this. That's crazy.
Number of downvotes and replies to niggas who pointed this out that I saw proves the point that I keep coming back to, that everybody want to be black until recess is over. Everybody want to be a gangster until the cops pull up.
Everybody want to be a nigga, but don't nobody want to be a nigga. R.I.P. Paul Mooney.
And then it's back to sobbing on the stand and looking pitiful as possible to avoid getting punished for it.
There's any number of reasons why people obsess over crime, including the 24/7 news cycle and the perception of crime's prevalence in our society. But here's what I found interesting.
This man's cooking.
The true crime genre's overall popularity is primarily driven by women. But have you ever asked yourself why and what specifically are these ladies watching? Well, one 2010 study found that women tended to gravitate towards stories that not only had a female victim, but gave tips on how to avoid such crimes as murder, rape, and kidnapping, as well as delving into the psychology of the perpetrators of those crimes. Some have even argued that our evolutionary instinct for survival is what leads some to obsess over ways to avoid.
Hey, Rick James, you know what I do? I say hi. Sometimes you gotta let them know, like, bro, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Hi. Hello. I know what they scared of. It's everything that he been talking about in this video. I know what they scared of, and shame on them for not having their own experience, and then maybe not shame on them because this is the shit that's pumped into media. This is the shit that's on the news. They don't put us in great light. Can you blame them? Niggas might not like to hear that, but can you blame them? I do. I do blame them. Have your own experience, right? I do blame them, and that could be flaw on me. But can you? This is what keeps getting fed to them. It's like, shit, I see a nigga, I'm definitely crossing the street. Is what it is.
Avoid meeting their maker a little too soon.
Like, because it comes from, to be fair, there's the same human.
Shout out my cousin Dre the Virgo, the hardest working woman on YouTube, hands down. Hands down. Shout out to that W stream. I like that. It's that shit no jumper on. Facts. But this is what I've been telling y'all. Me. Hey, take it from me. I'm No Jumper's biggest fan, right? No Jumper's biggest cheerleader, pom-poms, and all the shit. Take it from me, then. I'm telling you what they doing. He's breaking it down in depth. I tell you this every time. Every time.
Like tendency that gets us to watch a Trap Lord Ross video is also what gets us to watch true crime anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is also that gets us to watch the Menendez brothers. They got like 4 movies at this point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How many Jeffrey Dahmer movies?
I was just thinking about that. Yeah.
You know, it all comes from the same overt, like, human place, which is there's something about safely, vicariously engaging with a dangerous, harmful thing.
Voyeurism. I used this when I was covering Brandon Bukkake. It's voyeurism. He didn't like that term coming from academics, but that's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
With the internal knowledge that you are still safe. Like, I can observe that is the zoo. It's a fucking tiger right there. Can that nigga jump the gap? Are you sure? Like when you go to the zoo and you see the lion up on a mountain and there's no cage, my first thought is, first off, I don't even like zoos for this reason. But like my kids have barely went to the zoo with me. I'm like, this is just some. I know what this. I see the parallels too closely. I don't like this. One of the first things you do is observe the gap.
On me.
And you say, all right, what? And you say, what's keeping this nigga from jumping and catching me? And then once that's settled in, you just be like, oh wow, it's a tiger. And that's how they do us. You're watching because you know that being black in this country is hard as fuck and produces dysfunction and will lead to like young boys shedding their humanity in puberty. Man, that I still get like I well up when I think about that shit in Florida. Them boys were hopeless, and that's not unique. That's just a story that comes to mind because that's every hood, every ghetto has those boys where they have been so disabused from human like human decency and care, and so exposed to toxic, threatening environments that they just do not operate. They tend not to operate with their own safety and future and forthright. Like they just that's don't make sense to them because everybody they know is either dead or in jail, right? And that is a manifestation of so many things in this country that they don't want to get into, but they can't not notice the effects.
What I found interesting, though, if not at all shocking, was the disparity in women who said that they'd opt for true crime stories over war and gang-focused ones, according to StatSignificant.com. What I'm saying is, it's completely understandable why a woman would want to use a documentary or even multiple ones to know what to do if they're in such a predicament and even how to avoid such a predicament at all. What I don't understand, at least at face value, is why someone who has no immediate connection to gang violence outside of the music and the movies that they consume would want, let alone need, to be informed on such things.
Things that will never, ever cross your path. I say that all the time, too. A lot of this shit that people own is like, oh, yeah, gangbanging and da-da-da. A lot of you niggas don't know no Crips. A lot of y'all don't know no Crips, no Bloods, no nothing. Because that's just the average person. That's just not what they know. You don't even cross paths with that kind of shit. But you infatuated with it. It's wild work. It's wild work. Again, shout out to the chat, man. Again, I appreciate y'all being in here for real. Bunk Skunk. This is the bunkest skunkest I've ever done on a Friday, if you ask me. I hope that don't go over y'all heads. Straight up.
It's entertainment. Let's stop beating around the bush and just call a spade a spade. Y'all are not watching Trap Lord Ross. Y'all are not watching Brandon Buckingham or Swamp Stories or any of that to be informed or educated. You watch it, we watch it because it entertains us. Like, I'm not going to sit here and hold y'all like there isn't a morbid curiosity that compels one to click on a video titled Hip Hop Serial Killer. I'm not even going to argue that curiosity is necessarily a bad thing. But what is a bad thing is the real world implications of when that curiosity is actively being curated. The thing with movies, the thing with TV and with video games is that we know that those characters aren't real. We don't have to have an ethical dilemma over the demise of a fictional character or even a biographical one that died before Disco did. We don't have to feel bad about
what my nigga Gangland DJ say? No paperwork party needed, nigga. That's what I'm telling you about these niggas y'all following out here. They focused on the wrong things, my nigga. They're focused on the wrong things. Shame on all of them. No one excluded. It's funny how niggas is lawyers and criminal defense attorneys and shit. When they see, this is, my DMs is blowing up. Hey, Niem, we're waiting for you to talk about the thing. Hey, Niem, we waiting. It's nothing against those people. Shout out to them. Because, again, they just support me and they're just like, hey, we just want to hear your perspective on this. I can't. When I see this different shit, my mind goes somewhere else. Straight up. Niggas focused on the wrong things. Niggas out here lying to y'all too. Niggas out here covering this different shit and they lying. Niggas acting like they got sources and do this and do that and they don't. Niggas is in the basement somewhere making up lies to feed y'all. And y'all eating. Eat the cake, anime.
A fatality or a KD ratio unless you're on the wrong side of one, in which case that's grounds for a beatdown if I ever see you in the street. Even with music, there's always that plausible deniability of kayfabe, right? That we can deflect with. It's just lyrics after all. It's just cap. Nobody really knows how much is actually tall tales and how much is true stories.
Facts, Rick James.
But you can't really do that with a Trap Lord Ross video, though, can you?
Jazz, you know I rock with
Based
you, Jazz.
on most of the arguments that I've seen defending him or even academics back in the day, I know most of you niggas understand what I'm saying, even if you can't quite place your finger on it. That's why a lot of y'all deflect with the journalism argument, which, again, even if it's technically accurate, let's be real, that's not why you're watching this. And both you and them know that. Somewhere deep in the back of the reptilian portion of your mind, you know the way some of these creators present their topics feels weird.
Nasty.
You know,
nasty.
A little off, maybe even just straight up
nasty.
There's something wrong about white people getting paid to spend 3 hours talking about teenagers killing each other like they're a Nat Geo presenter or something. And for the ones bold enough to go walking around with a camera pointed at places and people that they'll never see again after that. But admitting this to yourself means that now you have to confront your own complicity in this perpetuation through your consumption of the content. Again, if there were no market, there would be no media to sell to it. Matter of fact, for the especially edgy among y'all, the taboo of enjoying something that society says that you're probably not supposed to enjoy, it's just as exhilarating, if not more exhilarating than the content itself. Oh, look out, everybody. It's Captain Badass over here spamming the N and F slurs in a Call of Duty chat from the safety of his parents' musty-ass basement. And because this is the internet and everything exists in extremes again, it means admitting this, it means admitting you are a bad person. But again, I don't agree with that. I just don't agree that watching questionable or even downright unethical content makes you an inherently bad person. And I think us insisting on such is what prevents people from confronting their own internalized biases. I think I made it pretty clear that I don't think that you should be watching Trap Lord Ross's content, but I don't think that you're necessarily a bad person for being entertained by it. Like I said, he's good at what he does. That's kind of what makes it such an issue. But the fact that you are entertained is a bad thing, if that makes sense. I can't hold you accountable for what you don't know, let alone something you've been conditioned to do your whole life. So I'm giving y'all a portion of grace by assuming that you don't fully understand the issue here. But I can't give the same level of grace to the people who produce this content. See, we still haven't answered the question.
Real quick, I have to disagree with Lil Bill there too. This the thing, right? So we come up in these different areas. I'm talking about my people now, just like me, come up in different areas. A lot of this is what I'll say. This is the case for everybody, right? But I'm speaking about my people, right? A lot of us growing up is unlearning the things that we was taught that we went through and downloaded from our environment and our different situations. A lot of us growing up is unlearning that. Again, I told y'all on street TV, you feel me? I was in LA schools doing all kind of stupid shit. They got bussed out this way. You know what I'm saying? Where the white folks is, right? Now, just a quick little shit. So, a lot of me going to school with these different folks, right, was me having to unlearn, like, yo, niggas thought I was a psycho because I didn't know how to conduct myself, right? I had no self-control. I didn't know how to conduct myself. When a nigga meet me with disrespect verbally, I'm just punching on you. That's not cool. Now, where I'm from, that's what we on. Where I'm from, that's what we on. Watch your mouth or get punched in your mouth. But that's not the norm of the world, right? I had to unlearn that. I went through hella problems about that, literally to where these niggas thought like I had like literal like mental issues. They're like, yo, what's wrong with this nigga? He can keep his hands to himself. What's his problem? You know what I'm saying? So I feel that the same thing stands with white folks. You know what's going on out here. It's your duty to unlearn that kind of shit. And if you are not actively trying to unlearn that shit, then you are a problem. Period. We have to. Oh, but y'all different though. I forgot. But y'all run this shit though. So, okay, I forgot. Y'all don't got to do that. Let's continue.
Of why these channels not only have such large followings, but didn't really blow up like that until they started doing hood stories.
Shout out my brother with $4.99 on the 40. This nigga was a wild card. First day ever linked. Shut up, fool. Shut up, stupid. Let's continue.
Furthermore,
and send some more money when you want to say some stupid shit, fool. Like, you got bread. I ain't trying to do you like that. Nigga, send some more money. Fuck.
We haven't asked ourselves why they've been able to do this with minimal pushback, and when there is pushback, there's a greater pushback against the initial pushback. It's anti-blackness, man. So yeah, if you ask me, Trap Lord Ross is anti-black. He's just not a
this nigga, man. This the nigga y'all listen to about hood. This the nigga who y'all listen to. Look at this nigga. The nigga glasses is starting a fire behind him. This is different. And this the nigga who y'all listen to. Mind you, he don't get no respect where he's from. I have to keep driving that point home. He don't get no respect where he's from. They don't even like him. Nor does he cover this shit that's going, the same shit that he's covering over here, sensationalizing, dramatizing, what my nigga said, fetishizing. It's the same shit going on over there where you at. Harry Potter?
Broth mouth N-word merchant like any number of gaming channels from yesteryear. That said, I don't know if he understands that, and it may be because of, again, the way we talk about racism, which is to say reductive. But what I can tell you is, even if unintentionally, he and his peers have been able to present their content in such a fashion, and just as importantly, with such success, because of societal anti-blackness. And I'm sorry, those channels are way too big for me to assume this hasn't been brought to their attention. But the problem is that they don't care enough.
I'm Harry Potter, and I talk about hood drama. I'm cool. I know what's going on in the hood. From across the fucking pond. Face ass. Misinformation like a motherfucker, too. That should be crazy. Y'all, when he be lying about all kind of shit, I don't even say lying, but he just misinformation, man. But it sound good, the shit. If it sound good, if it makes such and such sound like a demon, the Chirac demon, if it makes such and such sound like the Chirac serial murderer, then I'm gonna run with it. Nasty. Is that what they say out there? Nasty.
Pivot, or at least they don't care about that as much as they do profiting off of black bodies. Dead ones, depending on who we talking about. And all of that is a product of society's anti-blackness. Y'all see what I'm talking about, right? They've been conditioned to think and to act this way, just as you have. Again, anti-blackness doesn't mean that you got to be hostile. I'd argue most times it manifests as apathy toward the black condition. This is reflected in basically every aspect of living, from the disproportionate number of black kids who are misdiagnosed with learning disabilities and then left to their own devices in special ed classes without ever receiving the resources to cope with said disabilities. And again, that's it.
How many of y'all went to school and y'all had like little issues or whatever, niggas try to put you on Ritalin or some shit? My mom never let niggas do that to me. Ain't nothing wrong with this nigga. He just doing what he doing. Ain't nothing wrong with this nigga. He don't need no Ritalin. I'm not letting you have to prescribe him no Ritalin. And I didn't need no Ritalin. It's a fact. It's a fact. Pay attention, bro. I hope this shit don't go over your head. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat.
That diagnosis was accurate to begin with, or the even more disproportionate number of black kids who are suspended from school for the same infractions that non-black kids might not even be chastised for, simply because the school can be bothered with digging as deep with that child as they would with somebody who looks and therefore reminds them of themselves. Instead, they choose to punish them because that's what our education system is, a school to prison pipeline. We gotta teach the N-words how to stay in their place, after all. It's also reflected in black women being more than twice as likely to be victims of IPV than white women. And those numbers only go...
Listen to my people of color in the chat. At one point, they said I needed it, but it didn't happen. Facts. They tried, but my mom said, F that. Facts. Come on, bro. We going through the same thing they going through, but they like, we need to do something with this nigga. This is crazy. Get that nigga some Ritalin. Y'all remember Ritalin? Like, come on, bro. This is wild, bro. Y'all can't go nowhere else for shit like this. Pay attention. And this is why I'm the best. This is why I'm the best. This is why I feel like I shit on everybody, excluding nobody. This is why. Niggas ain't gonna talk to you for real. Niggas gonna read 58 pages of who's and knows what. 58 dramatized pages of allegations. Niggas could never.
Up for queer black women. So yeah, it ain't just a male on female thing. Or the disproportionate number of black women who die during childbirth or are denied care due to documented implicit biases held by doctors toward black patients. You know, black women supposedly having a much higher pain tolerance than white women, or black women just being inherently uncooperative or whatever. Or the number of black men who are disproportionately diagnosed with schizophrenia or bipolar due to mental health professionals assuming that their very well-founded fears of white supremacist society's inherent hostility towards them is just paranoia and delusions of grandeur, which, if y'all didn't know...
Shout out Dago Dog. He said, we are too strong. They literally hate it. Yeah. Y'all got to think where we come from. I'm not talking about nobody else's story again. Right now, I'm talking about us. Think of where we come from. Think of where we at right now. Again, we still operate off of a constitution that don't even consider us people till this day. You know what I'm saying? And look at us. We this and we that. We whatever they let us be. But still. You know what I'm saying? Again, like, forget the athletes, the entertainers, because all that shit is court gesturing, if you ask me, on some level. Not trying to be like that. It's no disrespect to the athletes or anything, but all that shit is court gesturing. You niggas is entertainment for us. You niggas is entertainment for us. Niggas don't talk about all the black doctors, the black neurosurgeons, right? I got a sister who a nurse, blood splatter analyst, graduated from USC. Cold. She cold. But won't talk about shit like that, right? Right. My bad, John. My bad.
Are the telltale signs of bipolar and or schizophrenia. What I'm saying is, Trap Lord Ross may not hate black people, but he sure as shuckle don't care about black folk. Not enough to think about.
What my nigga Mr. E say? It's that real news you could use. Pay attention.
How his actions not only exploits us, but uses and perpetuates an image of blackness that promotes apathy toward our condition, all of which, again, are products of anti-blackness. And no, he just glossing over the societal factors that created the condition of his subjects isn't good enough. Not when he's making a profit directly off of said condition.
I just said that earlier. I just said this earlier. I just said this. He not busting. He not zooming out a few lenses and understanding why this is even a thing. Come on, man. Remember welfare? At one point, they like, yo, you can't have a male in the household if you want this government cheese. Forcing our women to be dolo. You know why? Because they value that dollar. They value that dollar. So what they did was they forced the men out of the homes. If you want to participate in this government, you can't have you can't have an actual household. It needs some help. That nigga have got to go. Leaving single mothers to raise men, women as well, right? Just one woman. Shout out to the women. I love y'all to death. Y'all are everything, but y'all can't do everything. I think that kids need both of their parents, not one, but both. I don't think one parent is more important than the other because both of them are needed. They knew this. So what they tried to do was divide us, fracture the family structure. And they did that. I hope this don't go over your heads.
I always appreciated folk like Al Prophet. All of his feature-length Jones spent just as much time not only talking to people on the ground, but talking about the conditions that created the subjects of his videos. He also highlights the hypocrisy of demonizing the methods that they use to overcome it while not demonizing the system that led them down this path to begin with. But that's the thing. Trap Lord can use these excuses because neither he or the folk who watch his content really care about the conditions that he's highlighting. Not as much as they say they do. Y'all just use it to deflect from criticism, or worse yet, from your own internal ethical dilemmas. And it's not even poverty tourism exclusively, but just the way that whole aesthetic has been commodified in like the last decade or so of this platform. And not just this one, but Twitch and Twitter and all that other stuff. Prison workout with Compton gangbangers. I streamed myself on lockdown for 24 hours, talking shit to gangsters in the hood. What will happen next? Why do titles like these not only consistently get clicks, but are often the most popular videos on these channels? It's because the popular and thereby most profitable depiction of blackness in media is based in anti-black stereotypes. Society told folk like Trap Lord Ross that it's okay to exploit black pain because black people are only halfway human anyway. Again, maybe he doesn't want to understand that. And honestly, I really couldn't care less. But going back to something we covered earlier, the reason poverty tourism exists is because our society tells us that a person's life is only worth as much as the amount of zeros in their bank account. Thus, poor people have no intrinsic value beyond their capacity to enrich the lives of those above them in the social hierarchy. And in this case, that value comes in the way that those folk entertain folk above them in the hierarchy. Likewise, white supremacy says that blackness and thereby black people have no value.
Look here, real quick. Do y'all get the correlation? Do y'all understand this? Do y'all get the correlation with Adam Graham May's song? Do y'all understand it? Do y'all see this? Because maybe, again, I'll be telling y'all this all the time, but I don't have a bachelor's. I tell y'all this all the time. Do you see the correlation, bro? How much black friends this nigga got? How much black friends be at your house just kicking it with you and your family? Not any. You'll use them as muscle. You'll use them as content. You'll use them for clicks, views, monetization, and revenue. That's what these guys are doing. Again, I hope this don't go over your head. Rando said, big shout out to your sis, fam. On me, shout out Lil Magic. On me, because she's a GOAT. Black excellence.
beyond our capacity to serve the interest of white folks. So it's okay to profit off of the plight of poor black people so long as you call it journalism, because again, nobody would give a damn otherwise. Like, that's literally what y'all have been trying to talk me down with for like ever since I started calling bro on the carpet. Listen, my point isn't really to convince you that Trap Lord Ross is anti-black, because I mean, duh, nigga. All non-black people, hell, most black people are. In fact, the most anti-black people I've ever met in my life have all been niggas. Why else would niggas like Steve Harvey and Thomas Sowell have a platform that's basically just them bitching about baggy jeans and dreadlocks? Anti-blackness is the foundation upon which our society is built. Thus, you cannot just grow out of your racism. You must actively engage your implicit biases in order to unlearn them.
Boom. Y'all heard what you have? You must actively engage your implicit biases to unlearn them. What did I just say moments ago? I'm gonna let y'all know, I didn't watch this. I knew that this was heat. I knew it was fire. I didn't watch this. Again, I don't have the verbiage these scholars have. But I'll be telling y'all this, and this is why I think I'm so valuable, right? Because I'm trying to talk to the people who don't have this kind of education. I'm trying to talk to the people who don't have this kind of education, who consume this shit. I'm trying to show y'all, bro. I'm trying to tell y'all in layman's terms. I'm trying to talk to you. I'm y'all. I'm talking to y'all like y'all because I'm y'all, but I want y'all to understand this, bro. I just said this. We have to, I gave y'all an instance too with me. We have to unlearn this shit. So do y'all. Period. So do y'all. This man's cooking, bro. Shout out Lil Bill.
And that's not an easy thing. So a lot of people just avoid doing it altogether.
Facts.
I'm going to wrap this up by using the white man for reference, because nothing I say in this video is really going to matter unless one of them co-signs it. I don't remember who it was that said it, because, you know, all white people look alike and all that dumb nigga. But either Professor Sky or Fantano made a point about Trap Lord in one of Foreign Man's videos, and I'm glad that they did. Because if a white man can clock it, then the rest of y'all niggas really ain't got no excuse.
Trap Lord Ross specifically, I find very interesting.
There isn't like a way that a normal average guy from a small seaside town in England should want to do that.
And then he shot him. He was 16 years old and he was 15 years old, and he bled out on this. The ability to tap into our reptilian desire to dehumanize anybody is what he trades on, but it's also the societal desire to dehumanize black men that he's also tapping into, and I don't think he takes responsibility for it.
When you watch a Trap Lord Ross video, there is, for lack of better phrasing, an exhilaration that he gets talking about black pain.
Hey, I told y'all this before. I told y'all these niggas get horny for this stuff. I told y'all this Kiwi head be horny for this stuff. So, did you shoot such and such? I saw a video where, so what's up with the beef between such and such? And it's like they really horny for this. Just throw up gang signs. You got Brandon Bukkake throwing up gang signs in the thumbnails. Nasty. Nasty. Fuck is niggas' intentions out here. Again, pay attention to the shit that y'all consuming, man. Again, I know that I'm not going to make anybody not support nothing, but I feel like I have to do this. This is my job. I understand the subs I got and the followers I got. I have to bring this shit to y'all so y'all understand this. Everything ain't a fucking game. Everything ain't a joke, bro. And if a damn sure ain't for us, you care anything about black people, understand that life is definitely not a joke for us. Yeah.
Black trauma, black death even. An exhilaration.
Shout out my nigga ODM Slim in the building. That's my dog. Shout out Reg, he said, W Stream Gang, we needed this. Indeed we did, I felt like that. Shout out my cousin, because she felt like that. And she felt like I could deliver it. You know what I'm saying? Who doing this? You niggas listening to niggas read paperwork. Excuse me.
that's always been there, if you ask me.
You're making a decision to invest in the production of images of Black pain and dysfunction. And you could pull up a slew of arbitrary rules and excuses of why that's okay in your book and in the book of clearly hundreds of thousands, millions of people. Cool. I still hope somebody kills you. I still hope you get shot in the streets doing this one day. You know what I'm saying? Find a way to cleverly Babilla. Find a way to cleverly edit it well now. So I don't get in trouble.
It goes back to something that I talked about earlier with the roller coaster and scary movie analogy. Trap Lord's fascination with Black art was never necessarily with the art itself, if you ask me, but the trauma that informs it. And you can see that the bigger his audience became, the more unrepentant he became about that part of his fascination. You know, the whole power only makes you more of what you already are and whatnot. Again, he basically said this himself in a failed attempt to defend his BS.
I mean, you might laugh because I'm a white liberal who's going to say this, but like, Black Lives Matter. The first time I ever thought Black Lives Matter was 911 is a joke by Public Enemy, because like I didn't even understand, like I didn't understand the song. I was like, why are they mad at ambulances? Who could possibly have a problem? And then eventually I came to understand that
real quick, y'all.
A systemic inequality in
Shout out
ambulances,
to the chat.
and that's so much less charged than the police. Like that's like there's no one. You don't think there's any evil person abusing power driving an ambulance? So like if the term Black Lives Matter weren't so co-opted and whatever made by M&Ms and stuff, like just that idea, like if that idea worked at all or has any hold on anyone's mind, like every single one of these people is a human being, and definitely the technological systems that are in place are encouraging violence.
People like Trap Lord Ross and all of them, even supposedly hip hop blogs like Rap House TV and Say Cheese that all operate out of a call center in Mumbai somewhere, are exactly what I mean about loving everything about Black people except Black people. But specifically when it comes to people like Trap Lord, there's something even more sinister afoot with his BS, if you ask me. In a word, it's schadenfreude. Clarence put up a definition for all of the hood niggas in the audience. Trap Lord isn't interested in platforming Black stories. He's interested in profiting off of Black death, and from a far enough distance that he doesn't have to see, let alone feel the consequences of his actions. And that makes him the most vile of these folk, in my opinion. Maybe I am giving a little too much grace to all of the other folk, but he specifically is the only one who seems to actively enjoy what he does. He doesn't just exploit Black trauma, he revels in it, and that's especially despicable to me. But again, he individually isn't the problem, because if it weren't him, it'd be somebody else. Just pointing the finger at one skinny white man doesn't answer the question of how he even came to such prominence on this platform to begin with. These channels exist because there is a market for Black pain. There always has been, and there always will be, because of, again, anti-Blackness. Again, you don't have to hate us to be amused by our pain, and I hope I don't need to explain why that in itself is a problem. When I see a Trap Lord Ross thumbnail, all I can see is those pictures of Black kids in cages in a Belgian zoo. When I see a Brandon Buckingham video, all I see is those pictures of lynch mobs looking gleefully at the camera while they... When I see a Brandon Buckingham...
Big C's. Shout out Retired Troll in the building. We not frozen. I just want y'all to pay attention. Big white ass C's. Where he from? I just want that, you know what I'm saying? I just want that image to burn in your brain. I'm not gonna lie to you. I want that image to burn in your brain. I want y'all to forever see that. I want y'all to think Brandon Bukkake and think him with the blue jumpsuit and the big C's. Oh, he down. Oh, he down. These the niggas y'all invite to the barbecue. I hate that saying. Oh, I'm inviting them to the cookout. That's a cookout I don't want to be at.
Video, all I see is those pictures of lynch mobs looking gleefully at the camera while they point to the black body swinging above them. I see the dehumanization of black people by white supremacy and the sick pleasure that some folk get from that. It reminds me that less than 200 years ago, the law didn't consider me fully human, and that the society that made those laws still doesn't. I and my peers have accused Trap Lore of being everything from a fed to a culture vulture, and yeah, none of that is wrong, but it really undersells the danger that he poses. Trap Lore Ross is a black murder merchant, a profiteer of black pain. But again, you got to ask yourself, what part did we play in him getting to this point to begin with? If you ask me, all of it, and that's the real problem. I'm really not going to try to convince y'all to stop watching his slop because, you know, y'all are going to do what y'all want to anyway. I mean, this is a free country after all, or at least it will be for the next few months until SCOTUS caves completely to the big orange baby in office right now. I am not at all the first person to call these channels on the carpet, and I'm not merely calling them out for culture vulturing. Again, if you ask me, these channels are something different, something worse. And I just want y'all to be aware of how and why I feel like they need to be excised. It is to make y'all aware. It is to wake some of y'all up to the reality. Y'all have probably heard me and others call Trap Lore and Vlad and et al. Feds. Most of y'all think you know what that means when I use it, but you really don't. See, when I call these folk feds, what I really mean is just like the government has historically, these folks have made a living off of black bodies, specifically off of black pain and trauma. Again, you got to ask yourself, how much do you care though? Is it enough to starve them out? I don't know, dog. We'll see based on how viral the skinny white man's next video goes. Yeah, but Lord knows y'all love a snuff film, so I ain't really counting on it. Again, BET, call me, man.
Sheesh. Hope that wasn't too much for y'all this morning. I want to double back, right? I want to double back to this right here. I'm going to take the chat off the screen for a bit. I just want to double back. I want to show y'all what we did. I want to show y'all what we did. Arch salute. This is what we did. You got to understand your role in things too, right? You have to. We did this. You know what I'm saying? We did this. We support this. We think it's cool. Niggas getting money off us. Don't care about us. No highlights. No nothing. It's just this is what it is. You feel me? Niggas come together like goddamn Captain Planet and shit. To benefit off of us. And we did this. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. They don't take no accountability for nothing. This what we made. That's crazy. Just looking at that. That's crazy. Them niggas came together like butt cheeks after this latest situation, right? Them niggas came together like butt cheeks. Look at them. That's crazy. That's crazy. Shout out to the chat. Room full of agents celebrating their latest case. Nasty. Nasty. I don't really even, I don't even know what more to say. Like, I said it all. Niggas ain't gonna change nothing. Niggas ain't gonna do nothing. But again, I have to tell y'all, like, this is what I say, right? It's far easier to just do this. It's far easier to do this. That's why, you know what I'm saying? It's a saying. They be like, yo, you got a nose right above your mouth, but it takes somebody else to tell you that your breath stink. Right? Look at this shit, bro. It's easier for niggas to sit up there and just make this content. It's harder for niggas to speak to something else. It is, bro. Because especially for the Caucasoid sitting up there, right? You have to look into yourself. You have to deal with that subconscious racism, inherent bigotry. You feel me? And sometimes niggas don't want to look in the mirror. Because it's easier not to. It's easier to just go on about your business and act like nothing's happening. And this is what I'll say too. Them niggas in the room as well. The COINTELPRO in the room as well. It's easier for niggas to just, you know what I'm saying? But niggas say like, yo, Big made me have the nerve to call academics Malcolm X. He's fighting the billionaires. He's fighting the this. He's fighting the that. That's wild work to me. But it's easy. It's easy to sit in your mansion that you got off of our black trauma. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to the niggas in the room now. It's not enough that you made it here off the black trauma, right? And you could like turn a new leaf. You could try to do something different. It's not enough that you made your whole everything off of our trauma, off of our pain, right? That's not enough for you. You got to keep going. Yeah, you made it here. Boom, I'm rich. I'm this, right? And you don't want to pivot, do something a little different, show these people something better. Again, we just basketball players, entertainers. Oh, just won a Grammy, won an Oscar, just won the Super Bowl. But niggas don't want to talk about the doctors and lawyers, neurologists, the black excellence for real that we have, taking nothing away from the entertainers, because a gift is a gift. And a lot of us, we're born with natural gifts. That's why everybody love us, because we got everything, man. It is what it is. But it's not enough for you to make your bones off of our trauma. And then it's like, okay, boom, I'm here now. Now I can use my platform or use my this or that for the greater good. Nope. That's because that would take a little more work. That would take a little more work to do. You know what I'm saying? Look at this. It's a nasty ass conglomerate right here. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Niggas like, I don't for Kanye. Kanye is this, that, and the other. Rah, 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 rah. Vladimir got on Yeezys. Vladimir has on Yeezys. I don't like what it says. I just think that, you know, it says, you know, Vladimir got on Yeezys though, bitch. Man. Shout out to the chat though. Let's get them niggas off the screen, right? Ugh, that's not better. Shout out to the chat, man. again, man, understand what you doing out here when you supporting this shit. And again, like, I know it's not gonna make y'all stop watching the Run Hunter side. I know y'all said, just like my man said, like, this ain't gonna do nothing. You feel me? It ain't gonna do nothing. Straight up. But this shit needs to be said. Vlad dude got a man bun. Nigga got a chicken head man bun. You got a chicken head man bun. Just pay attention to what y'all doing. Pay attention to what y'all supporting, man. You know what I mean? Again, y'all know what's going on right now with what they calling the RICO and this, that, and the other, which isn't a RICO. It's a complaint. I've never heard about a federal complaint, right? I've never heard of a federal complaint, but that's what we're witnessing right now. You know what I'm saying? A federal complaint. Let's do this real quick too. I want to show y'all this one more time. It's from Alcoholic himself right here. You know what I'm saying? I just want to show y'all this one more time, right? Before we get up out of here, I want y'all to have a beautiful day. You feel me? Stay blessed. Stay sucker free. You feel me? I want y'all to look at this. About 30 to 40% of the incidents described in this complaint, because that's what it is. It's a complaint. It's not a RICO. We don't know where it's going, but it's not a RICO yet. It's a complaint. About 30 to 40% of the incidents described in this complaint against the Rolling 60s can be tracked back to podcasts or online back and forths. Threats, plots, incidents seem to be directly related to online beefing, podcasting, which heightened tension. I hope that don't go over your heads. Again, see, niggas don't want to do this. Niggas don't want to do that. But then when some shit like that pop up, I watch everybody, man. That shit disheartening. I watch everybody. And niggas like, oh, Niem, your name's Gangland. Shut up, dude. Shut up. Shut up. I watch everybody jump on this, bro. I watch everybody jump on this and not speak to anything real. You know what I mean? Niggas missed the mark with this one for real. But I won't. And that's why I'm better. That's why I think I'm the best. And that's why I feel the way that I do. That's why I don't want to be friends. Niggas like to be like, they not like us. They not like us. Niggas ain't like me. And it's a fact. Niggas ain't like me. That's why I don't want to be friends, man. It's nothing. It ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's really nothing personal. It's really nothing personal. But that's why I don't want to be your friend. That's why. I don't really have nothing else to say. Shout out to the chat though. Again, I greatly appreciate y'all for being in here with me. 3 hours, 16 minutes, you feel me? Of some good shit. Some good shit. Food for thought. I'm trying to feed my people. I was, again, niggas in there with the DMs like, Niem, I'm waiting for you to do what? To read paperwork? To talk about a bunch of it could be, but we don't know. All I'm doing is adding to the sensationalizing of this shit. If I was to get on here and do that, bust that down, that's all I'm doing. This is what they want. And niggas play right into it. Shout out to the chat, though. Best chat on YouTube. I swear I love y'all. I swear I love y'all. Pay attention to what you consuming. Pay attention to what you doing. You feel me? Straight like that.
On that barbed wire fence. This is for my niggas who ain't seen freedom since. Born as a slave, freedom always been a dream. This is for them birds on that barbed wire fence. This is for my niggas who ain't seen freedom since. Born as a slave, freedom always been a dream. Made it out that cell, now I'm home. Thinking about them years I've been gone. I've been on probation for too long. My whole life now, give me my life now. Sometimes I feel so irrelevant. You make me wanna cry, you know, on my song. They could've gave me life, just been running people's home. Now I'm on the countdown, ready to go home. That book up off the shelf. Time to focus up. It's not about mental health. No, I know what's up. Yo, please.
Don't forget us. Don't forget us.
Fucking birds on that barbed wire fence. This is for my niggas who ain't seen freedom since. Born as a slave, freedom always been a dream. This is for the birds on that barbed wire fence. This is for my niggas who ain't seen freedom since. Born as a slave, you know what it is. This is for the birds on that barbed wire fence. Just for my niggas who ain't seen freedom since. Born as a slave, freedom always been a dream. Makes a lot before I sleep.
Until the next time, I'm the best.